Oh man, God, it's Friday night. I can't wait for the AFC Championship game. I'm excited. You're excited. So many different things to talk about. Oh man, I am so jacked up for today's show. Very jacked up. There's something off here. There we go. There we go. Got the lights on now. Really, really, really ready. Really, really ready. The NFLPA Collegiate Bowl is going to be going on Saturday. I got that on DVR. There's something wrong with the lighting here, but that's all right. All right. Making early mistakes, but that's okay. Oh yeah, One Pride 40 LFG. Yes. All right, One Pride. I got on the Discord, which I normally don't do, about mock drafts and specifically mock draft trades. I need you guys, when you're doing mock draft trades, to quit giving yourself extra picks. I saw one of your buddies trade with the Jets and get an extra second and fourth, and you guys got to stop giving yourself extra draft picks when you're doing mock trades. It's a buddy of yours in the Discord server. I saw that. Stop doing that. You didn't do that, but a buddy of yours did. The Jets don't want to give you an extra second and third, or I think a second and fourth. Nobody wants to give your team extra draft picks. Just remember that. James, yes. Man, I'm jacked up. Oh, dude, you're doing Oh man, share the news with us. I love the MMA training. I love the MMA training. It's actually something I thought about doing myself. I took a couple years of Krav Maga, and they've changed some things. When I first joined, the guy was just starting out, and he had a good deal where you could pay like a monthly rate. Now it's session by session, and it's just, he's getting bigger. So and I haven't talked. I haven't stayed in touch, but I rebroadcast all this stuff on social media. I would recommend him to you, but he's easier in Kansas City. I mean, but Krav Maga is a good one. But yeah, amazement. Yeah. Matter of fact, amazement. Let's see what you had here. You had Jacksonville +9 hit. Cincinnati, you got Cincinnati on the money line. You probably got +130. That's a great number. You had the Niners -4 hit, and Giants +7.5, which is okay. Oh yeah, absolutely, I did. I stand by that because. Okay, hold on. Listen, this is awesome. I'm jacked up about this one, Pride. So let me tell you this. I made a smart decision telling you about this, and I'm going to tell you why. A banged up offensive line against a good defensive line is never a smart bet. The Bengals offensive line played lights out. That's a smart bet. I'm glad it hit. I'm glad it hit. I'm pulling for you, man. I want you to win money. But anytime you have a banged up offensive line, that's a red flag, and that's why I was against it. So. Yes, I did try to talk you out of it. And I stand by that. I really do. I stand by that. I do have predictions for the AFC and NFC championship games. You know what? I don't know if I put that link down below or not. I really don't know. I did make a couple videos, top 10 Super Bowl teams of all time and top 10 teams that never make the Super Bowl. Please check both those videos out. Some good some good clips of the games. It's not just me talking, which I still think is pretty cool. But yeah, man, a great job, by the way, Amazement. You probably cleaned up depending on what bets you made. But if you got the money line, you probably got +130. You went 3 out of 4, so you made some money. And I'm always happy when you make some money. Oh, I got Funk in the house. Oh man, I have not yet. But I'm going to try to get Luke G on here very soon, because when it comes to draft, there's very few people I trust more about. No YouTuber I trust more about draft than Luke G. There's nobody on YouTube who I would say, give me some draft information. Luke G is my number one draft guy, and I really, really, really want to get him on and talk about the draft, because the Lions are the wild card in the draft, because Here's what you got. The Bears are going to trade down. The Cardinals are going to trade down. All right. So how many quarterbacks are going early? How many quarterbacks are going early? That's the big question, because at 6, when the Lions pick, is it going to be 3 quarterbacks? Is it going to be 2? And if you're the Lions, I don't advertise or protect golf, which is good and bad. Now, this is how I would handle it. I would say, we're going to take the best player available. And if it's quarterback, it's quarterback. And I would leave it open-ended like that, because I might be able to trade down. I might be stuck at 6. Daniel Jeremiah. Oh God. I'm drawing a blank here. I believe it's the Clemson defensive tackle at 6, and then Gonzalez at 18. And that would actually be really good. That's exactly what I would do. Because the thing is, with that Clemson defensive tackle, I'm drawing a blank on his name. I've seen him go anywhere from Detroit at 6 to Kansas City at 30. So, but man, I'm glad to see you, brother. First class is free to pay only 60, 60 per class, or 60 a week, 60 a month. You don't have to share, but if you follow me on social media, please hit me up and let me know. And I'm gonna do my best to try to be a little more active on the Discord. I didn't want to argue with that guy when he had that mock trade about the Lions picking up extra picks. But that's like one of my pet peeves, is that whoever you're a fan of is getting extra picks, and no team really wants to give you extra picks. That's just true. James says got pocket. I knew the O-line was beat up, but I had a good feeling that they were going to pull it out. Something about them not being able to play that game, and it got postponed to motivate them. When you have a good feeling and you win, it's always a good thing. But as a general rule of thumb, when you have a banged up offensive line, I always, hey, watch out. And Kansas City in the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay, banged up offensive line. I think most Chiefs fans don't want to give Tampa Bay the credit that they deserve, and they did. I mean, they had a great game plan offensively. They came out, ran the ball, very physical. But yeah, a banged up offensive line against a good defense, never a good thing. Soon. I usually wait till after the combine. I'm toying around with if I can. I've been reaching out to some different people, but I have kind of an idea for a mock draft. But I'd kind of like to do it with some people. I don't want to just give you my 31. I kind of want to do something combined. So, man, what are you learning? BJJ wrestling. If so, it's Canadian kick by Tiger. By the way, this is just I'm really big into this. I think it's important for I think any staying in shape is really important for all men. And I know that we got some girls in here, but I mean most of my audience is men. So I think men, it's very important to stay in shape. Don't be starting fights, but it's important to defend yourself. Very important to defend yourself. So and I have a Smith machine just right here. I use every day, every single day. So I prefer the kind that folds, but nothing wrong. That's a great deal, man. That's a great deal, by the way. 60 a month's fantastic deal. Please, all my social media is below. Keep me informed on how you like it, how it's working out, pros, cons, everything. And I want to hear about it. ZZ Top song. Oh man, we got some ZZ Top. I'm a big ZZ. That's actually what I was going to start the show on. I got some news here. I'm gonna break down the big 6 that I have, but the only head coach hire right now is Frank Reich going to Carolina, and I think it's a great move. I feel bad because Steve Wilkes deserves a head coaching job. I mean, he did a fantastic job, and I thought he got a real bad deal in Arizona. So Steve Wilkes does deserve a job. it's kind of funny because Denver social media, I've been paying attention to Broncos social media, and it's a complete shit show in Denver. I was toying around with calling them West Cleveland. Remember how Cleveland went through like 4 coaches in 4 years, and I was toying around calling Denver because that's what it is. They were convinced Sean Payton wanted to go there. He wants nothing to do. I mean, you got to listen to the Walton Penner group. I mean, you got to listen to them, but that's a terrible job. And then they were convinced Dan Quinn was coming. This is on Denver social media. So I follow a lot of Broncos on social media. They got a lot of really good people on social media. I'm the guy that does the Locked On Broncos Network, Cody Rourke's fantastic. Some of the guys that he follows, some of Denver's sports radio I follow, really, really good sports fans. Denver has some really good sports fans. So like I'm getting pretty good stuff here. They were convinced Dan Quinn was going to come. Then David Shaw was, he's the head coach of Stanford. He's had some interviews, I think. And now they're just kind of like, we're on option like 8 or 9. Nobody wants to come here. And it's like, duh. Denver's not a good situation. And I blame the ownership group. You know, you have a group that's worth a lot of money, but they're not football people. Now, Sasha Khan, he's the Jacksonville Jaguars owner. He's a billionaire. He's from Pakistan. I think he owned a soccer, you know what I'm talking about. When he first bought Jacksonville, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, I don't remember exactly. He wasn't a football guy, and he brought in some analytics people, brought in like some people from baseball, and he thought he could and it didn't work out right away. He had some success. He went to 2017, I believe it was 17, AFC Championship game, or was it 18, 19? One of those. And they were up by 10 in the fourth quarter against the Patriots. So they did have some success at one point in time, but he finally brought in the right people, and he's done an A+ job. But Denver is just a complete disaster right now. And I don't think it's a good job. I think out of all the jobs, I think Denver's one of the worst. You're stuck with a quarterback that has some severe limitations. I mean, he really does. But he has some good things too. I'm not telling you Russell Wilson's a bad quarterback, but in the NFL, a lot of these quarterbacks, it's a quick rhythm passing. Take a look at the quarterbacks that are in the conference championship games. All these guys are young. All these guys are quick rhythm throwers. In Burrow and Mahomes, you got generational guys. Hurts, oh God, when his contract comes up, oh Lord. San Francisco, what do you do? That's a fun story. But you got Russell Wilson. He's never been that guy. He's a guy that, I'm stealing this from Daniel Jeremiah from the NFL Network. You have the tractor and you got the trailer. And Russell Wilson's always been the trailer. If everything else is in play, he settles it all down and he helps. He's not that guy who's going to pull your team all by himself. And Broncos, when they gave him all that money, thought he was. He's not. He's not that guy. But I kind of went. Sorry, I went off track here. I'm jacked up. All right, so your thoughts. I think the Panthers was the best job. Ike Ekwonu, maybe next year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years from now, probably going to be the best left tackle in football. He was my number 1 player coming out of the draft. He was a redshirt sophomore, so basically, next year he could theoretically be a senior in college. Guys that big should not move like that. Phenomenal left tackle. You can build around the offensive line. All right. Defense, lots of youth, lots of playmakers. All right. All you need is quarterback. And you pick 9th. And you have some extra draft capital from the Christian McCaffrey trade. So you can easily trade up. And seriously, if you're Carolina, you can give up 2024 first round pick, don't even blink. So I think it's a great move. And you have several quarterbacks that you can bring in. I mean, you don't have to trade up to number 1. I think both the Bears and Cardinals are going to trade down. But if you're sitting there at 9, take a look at Detroit. Detroit, hey, do you guys really want a quarterback? You got Goff, but man, Goff's really good, I mean, you have that question. So I think it's a brilliant move. Steve Wilkes deserves a head coaching job. I ranted about Denver being bad. If I'm the Denver Broncos, Steve Wilkes is the guy that I want. But for whatever reason, they haven't really talked to him yet. So yeah, it's a great move on both sides. The best part about Carolina is no team in that NFC South is doing well. No team in the NFC South is doing well. So he comes in, he can win 9-10 games. He can win that division, go to the playoffs. And once you get in the playoffs, man, you have a good defense. You never know. So yeah, great move. And they're going to draft a quarterback in round 1. The question is, do you wait at 9? Do you trade up to 1? Do you trade up to 3? Detroit at 6. You never know. Jiu-jitsu. Dude, I'm excited about this, man. I'm as excited as you are. I don't need it. I want the energy drink. I by the way, these C4 energy drinks, I put a link in the Amazon. These things are fantastic. They're sugar-free. They taste fantastic. All right, that's the end of my advertising. Dan, my dream scenario right now, Carter falls to 6 and Philly gives up 10 and 30th to the Lions. Just take cornerback at 10. Witherspoon, Gonzalez, Porter over Holmes once. Okay, so let me see if I got this right. So Carter falls to 6. Philly gives up 10 and 30th to take 10. Gonzalez or Porter, whoever Holmes wants. That actually, I don't. Okay, here's why I don't think it works is because they drafted they drafted the kid out of Georgia last year. I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. I should know this. Adams. I'm drawing a blank. So I don't think that would happen. Could Philly trade up with Detroit if they fall in love with somebody? Sure, but I don't see Philly doing it. I really don't think Philly is going to do that. Philly wouldn't be the team. Could a team trade up to 6? Yeah, absolutely. There could be. I think it would be Carolina. It's going to be a team that wants a quarterback, not Carter, and it wouldn't be Philly. They drafted the kid from Georgia last year. So, hey man, I'm going to tell you something. Any man has to pay child support. That is a BITCH. Yeah. I want to get Luke G in here soon. I was thinking Luke G, my boy Keys. He hasn't been on lately, but we chat through social media. I was thinking about getting him and maybe some of his guys, maybe a combination. I haven't combined Luke G with another guest, and I kind of don't want to do that because he didn't do that with me, so I haven't done that with him. But I want to do a mock with somebody else, and so either Luke G or Keys. I've been reaching out to a few other people to see if I can get some guests on. But yeah, there's going to be, I want to do a mock draft with somebody that way. Like I'll do odds. He can do evens, or he can do odds. I can do evens. That way have a background. So dude, you did Canadian kickboxing. That's awesome. Yeah. I wrestled in high school. I was really good. I could have got a scholarship. So. I did hire someone. Panthers fans are upset. Yeah, and Wilkes deserves to be a head coach. If I'm Denver, that would have been the guy I would have been targeting all along. That would have been the guy I've been targeting all along, but yeah. Okay, Dan, why the hell are we interviewing Broncos offensive coordinator coming off that dreadful year on the offense for Wilson? McCardle is getting talked to. It's a big risk for Bowles because he's gone if it fails. Hold on here. Hold on here. Are you talking about the Jets or the Bucks? Because okay, so here's why the Jets brought in. But you said Broncos offensive coordinator. He's I'm sorry, man. I feel like you're saying something clear, but it's not registering in my head. You're talking. Okay, let me see if I get this right. Because you say for Wilson, and I'm like Wilson. I'm drawing a blank. So You're talking about the Tampa Bay offensive coordinator job. That's one job that hasn't been filled yet. And why are they talking about the Broncos offensive coordinator? I did not know that. If you're talking about the Bucks, why are they talking to Broncos offensive coordinator? I have no idea. That doesn't make any sense. Nathaniel Hackett kind of ran that offense, and I didn't know that. But yeah, it is a big risk for Bowles, to be honest with you. I don't see that being a good move, to be honest with you. So why I don't have an answer. I really, really don't. And I got 5 other positions besides right that I did want to talk about. That one's one that I didn't even know about that, to be honest with you. And I should, and I apologize, Amazement. Here I am. I have a YouTube show. All I do is talk football, and I don't have the information for you. So I apologize in advance. But yeah, I didn't know that. Like I said, these jobs aren't attractive. Yeah, I firmly, it was funny. I don't pay attention to a lot of news media, the big time stuff like Stephen A., Colin Cowherd. I do watch PTI. I do love PTI. And I was very surprised that they said that Carolina was not an attractive job. No, Carolina is easily the most attractive job. You have a good defense, good left tackle, terrible division, an owner that is willing to just print money. I mean, he gave a 7-year, $60 million contract to a guy that, fresh out of college, basically. Now, he was with the Giants organization for a year before he took over at Temple, and a Giants organization, specifically the former Giants head coach. I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. I'm so embarrassed about this. I should know better. He was with Jacksonville, then he went to New York, won some Super Bowls there. I should know his name. I don't. He was really, really high on that role. He was like, this is a guy. So, fun fact, really, that is awesome. Brilliant businessman. I think he's doing a brilliant job. And one of the big things he's done is he put a lot of his money into Jacksonville Stadium. And I'm not hearing anything that the Denver group, apparently, according to Denver Gator, who's here, I mean, they're worth like $70 billion. Why aren't they doing more things? They're just it's a complete shit show in Denver right now, and hopefully they'll turn it around. But it's not going to be this year. Pride, if they don't make sure you can break fall properly before you, yes, and that was one thing that we learned right away. So. We still suck. Denver Gator, I am so glad you're here. We still suck. I think D'Amico Ryans gets a job at stupid. Yeah, I think he's taken the Houston Texans job. I think D'Amico Ryans taken the. So here's the drill. Dan Quinn, after Peyton's like, yeah, there's no way I'm coming here. Dan Quinn was the front runner. If Jerry Jones has a book on sales, like, I'm buying it. I would love to know what this guy does. Fantastic salesman. I don't know what he tells people, but he has some like magical elixir, some mutant superpower. But he's like, I know you can take a head coaching job, but stay here in Dallas. Now, here's one thing that's key, and I don't have all the names. Some of them are big names too. Some of them are big names, but they let go 6 assistants in Dallas. Joe Philbin, he was a former head coach. Leon Lett, former player. 2 other guys I've heard of. Not coordinators, but 6 assistants. Now, when they were let go, the contracts were expired. And it sounds like what they're doing in Dallas is very interesting because they're keeping the offensive, defensive coordinator, head coach. They're changing a lot of the inner personnel. A lot of times when you change guys like this, it's because of the coordinators. The coordinators want to bring in guys that they've worked with, that they want to do a certain way with. A lot of times you have a team that will have, like Leon Lett. Leon Lett, when he retired, like, hey, I'm going to be a defensive line coach for you guys. And the owner's like, yeah, sure. You're a good player, and, we're going to reward you. And this happened with the Raiders. Fred Biletnikoff was a Raiders wide receiver coach for like 20 years. And it was like 4 or 5 head coaches, but hey, you know what? Biletnikoff's a guy. So I think that might be part of it. This could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing, but it's interesting. it's interesting what they're doing, and it's something that doesn't get a lot of media attention, but probably should. And this is something that could be really, really good for the Cowboys. It could be bad. I'm jacked up about this, man. This is really awesome. So I'm happy that you're doing this, man. I used to do that sort of thing. Yeah, exactly. They're going to get one right away. Jordan Davis, yeah. I can promise you they're going to draft one at 9, but they have the draft capital. Remember, they traded McCaffrey. They got a lot of picks for him. The only question is, do they trade up to 1? Do they trade up to 3? Do they want your Lions pick? That's what you have to consider, because the Raiders are sitting there at 4. Are they going after Brady? Do they want a quarterback? There's so many questions in the draft. The Colts, what are they going to do? You know they're taking a quarterback, so that's the thing. And one thing about Reich is that I'm convinced that what they're going to do is when they hired Reich, he's saying, okay, well, look, if we can't draft the guy that we want, and I want blank, here's free agents that I want. And maybe it's Matt Ryan. I don't think so. But I think that what you're looking at is that they got a list of players that they want to come in. They really do. He might say, listen, I love Sam Darnold. That might be it. He might say, hey, listen, but yeah, they're going to draft somebody. That's usually even a more grapple friendly system. Yeah. Funk Witherspoon kind of growing on me a little bit. You know, I've seen a lot of mock drafts where Witherspoon is there at 6, and I'll be honest, I don't know too much about him. So tomorrow is the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, and I'm going to watch that. Jason Dunn, former Chiefs tight end, my boy Keys. I haven't seen him in the chat yet. He was on a YouTube show where Jason Dunn was on there, and Keys was phenomenal. Keys did a great job on that show. And I messaged him, I was like, why didn't you let me know? He's like, Dan, it was pre-recorded. But thanks for watching, But yeah, it was great. It was great. And so I messaged out, and he actually messaged me back. One thing about the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl I thought was interesting is that the WWE, the wrestling group, is sending talent evaluators and scouts out to that game. So I thought that was interesting. So Jordan Davis, he isn't playing enough for me. The only reason I said Carter's, he'd be the only guy to make it worth it for Philly. I like their pick, stream scenario, not like Jordan Davis was banged up. That was kind of the reason why they signed Ndamukong and Suh. And it's going to be interesting what they do in the offseason, because they got a lot of guys there. That defensive line goes 8 deep. I mean, they can bring 4 new players out at any time. But Jordan Davis is going to be a big part of that defense. Fletcher Cox, it's probably his last season. Ndamukong Suh's not staying there long term. He'll be with another team, or he may retire. I have no idea. Ndamukong Suh is one of those guys that, like, you have no idea what he wants to do. He might want to go. I don't see him doing TV, and Ndamukong Suh's not a TV guy. In my opinion, he may be phenomenal on TV. Who knows? I mean, I don't see him doing TV, but he may want to go into coaching, finance. He was doing something with a finance group I thought was just genius. I mean, he's a smart dude. I know that like some Lions fans don't like him. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think there's no question he's a Hall of Famer, one of the best players. He had, when he was in college at Nebraska, a lot of Nebraska fans thought he should have won the Heisman. And they were like, I think 8-4. They're playing an undefeated Texas team. He had 4 sacks, a blocked extra point, just dominated the game. Texas had to kick a field goal late in order to win that game. And a lot of Nebraska fans thought he should have won the Heisman. And I'll never forget that performance. I watched that, and I'm like, oh, my God. I mean, because Texas that year had a really, really good team. And I remember just like, Jesus Christ, who is this guy? I'm always a big Ndamukong Suh fan. So, but, yeah, he's not coming back. So, Lions fired Don Mulbach on the 40. Yeah, there's a lot of times players, coaches get fired, bring on. Joe Philbin was the biggest name coaching-wise because he was former head coach, longtime offensive coordinator. I think he was like the offensive line coach. But it's interesting when you go through that many. 6 assistants, that's a large amount. And I'm wondering, because here's the timeline. Dan Quinn's coming back, 6 assistants let go. And part of that may be Dan Quinn wants to have his own guys. The thing is, though, Joe Philbin's on the offensive side of the ball. I'm kind of surprised Kellen Moore is not taking as many interviews. I heard that Denver has a sleeper candidate, and I'm kind of wondering if it's Kellen Moore because D'Amico Ryans, I think, is going to Houston. So. Slasher, what's up, brother, man? You should be very excited. So you have San Francisco winning, I'm guessing. I haven't even talked about the games yet. I had enough of the Ramsey talk. I don't see that happening at all. No, I don't. Aging corner, you know what? A big popular topic for Chiefs fans have been DeAndre Hopkins coming to Kansas City. And a lot of Chiefs, we need number one receiver. I was like, this is the dumbest thing in the world. So no. Witherspoon will grow on anyone. He's allowed like 7 yards this year, something stupid like that. Helps in a run game. That's what I'm hearing. I'll be honest with you. I don't know too much about the guy. I just know he's a physical marvel. Had an A+ year at Illinois, so he's going against some really, really good competition, especially against Ohio State. So yeah, I seriously, I could really see this happening. I really could. And okay, I'm gonna explain this. The reason why I could see this is because of Dan Campbell. I could see Dan Campbell just reaching out and saying, listen, all these things happened in the past. This is a new ownership group. This is a new front office. We made some mistakes in the past. We want to embrace you back into the culture. We're going to give you a nice 1 year, $8, $9, $10 million deal. We're going to overpay you. And we want to apologize, but we need you to be a leader. We need you to be a spokesman. We need you to, come in and help change everything around. If he's willing to do that, then yes. But I mean, nobody knows what's going on in his mind except for him. What's up, Super Saiyan Lions with a fantastic that lion on fire is just badass, man. I love it. Slasher, how you feel about Cincy banner, Dan? Seems like consensus on social media is Joe Burrow owns the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is banged up, and the Chiefs have no hope. It's funny because there's been trash talk on both sides. I follow a lot. So here's the drill. Last year, Bengals fans just annoyed the piss out of me, so I blocked a lot of them. And of course, I follow a lot of Chiefs social media. But the Burrowhead thing, for those of you who don't know, but here's the thing, I only hear Burrowhead from Chiefs fans. I haven't heard one Cincinnati Bengals player or fan say Burrowhead. It's just been Chiefs fans. They interviewed Willie Gay, starting linebacker for Chiefs, and they said, hey, what is the one thing about the Bengals offense that stands out? He goes, nothing. That's bulletin board material. So it's been really going both ways. Patrick Mahomes seems to be fine. Yeah, Funk, you're 100% correct. Last time his ankle was banged up, he went for like 446 and I think 6 touchdowns against Pittsburgh. By the way, the 6 touchdowns is a real number. I know it sounds like I made that up. No, it's actually a real number. So what happened is he threw for 4 touchdowns against Jacksonville, and his ankle got banged up, and then he threw for 6, and that was his MVP season where he went for 5,050. So it sounds like I'm just, like one gajillion. No, that's not the case. He actually did that. So you know what? I was going to go over some of these assistants, but let me do this here. And I don't have it pulled up, so I apologize. I was looking at this on my phone. So I've never seen a point spread do this in my entire life. And so I'm gonna give you some like kind of hardcore big time knowledge when it comes to sports betting. I've never seen a point spread do this in my entire life. And it's just absolutely crazy. So here's what happened. The Chiefs opened up as a 1-point favorite on Monday. As soon as the line came out, about 6 to 9 hours later, it was Kansas City +1. So it was a 2-point spread in hours. I don't know if you know anything about sports betting, but for a line to move 2 points in hours, millions, maybe tens of millions of dollars has to be wagered. Then it jumped all the way up to 2.5. Again, to move a line that much in just a day, you need millions of dollars to move it that much. Right now, today, Kansas City is a 1.5-point favorite. So I don't know when the line jumped back, but there's been movement all over the place. I seriously think that hundreds of this is going to sound like I'm making this up. This is true. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been wagered on this AFC Conference Championship game. I'm telling you this right now. Hundreds of millions of dollars. Point spreads don't move like this. I've been doing sports betting really hardcore since 2017. Point spreads in the NFL do not move like this. Hundreds of, I'm not exaggerating, over $100 million has been wagered on this game. I can almost promise you that. I've never seen anything like this. And I think that what it is that the media now has been showing Mahomes looks okay. He's not 100%. He looks okay. Travis Kelce is on the injury report, which is really weird. He's been healthy all year, and he just popped on today. I have no idea why. I don't know if it's just, hey, give me some attention. I don't know, but this is just crazy. I as a Chiefs fan, I'm excited. Slasher, you're probably taking the 49ers +2.5. So. It is. Jalen, I don't see, if you're going to move Ramsey, you're doing it for a ton of draft picks. I don't see it working in Detroit. I think he stays there, but if he does move, I don't see Detroit being a fit. Slasher says, I love it. Can't wait for the game. I have KC winning by a close one. I think their running attack has been underrated. Yeah, it has been. And that's one thing that's been really underrated about the Chiefs. The offensive line is built for running the ball. And they've done a really good job in the playoffs just saying, hey, look, Orlando Brown's 350. Joe Thurney's a technician. I'm not saying anything negative against Jason Kelce, but Creed Humphrey today, right now, may be the best. Maybe. Don't put this as bulletin board material. Maybe the best center in football. Trey Smith is built for a run-heavy offense. He's 330 and just a mauler. And you have a big physical offensive line, and you got an angry running back. That 7th-round rookie, Isaiah Pacheco, has done a fantastic job. By the way, Back Talk Brothers, again, I'm a pump up my boy Keys, who's not here, but they were talking about him since June, and they're like, he's going to be a starter. And I'm like, no, he plays pissed off. He's 220, pissed off. And you got a smaller defensive front in Cincinnati, and so far it's worked out fantastic because they use a their defense is so much fun to watch. I shouldn't gush so much, but when I love watching the Bengals defense because it's funny. You'll see like 6 guys on the line of scrimmage. They rush 3. Sometimes they blitz a corner off it's so much fun to watch. If you're an NFL fan or a junkie like I am, you can't get enough of watching the Bengals defense. It's so much fun to watch. You have no idea who's coming, what they're doing. Logan Wilson's everywhere. I love this guy. University of Wyoming player, played with Josh Allen, and those two guys love each other. But the Bengals defense is a lot of fun to watch. The way you beat the Bengals is you got to run the ball. You really do. You got to run the ball, and you basically, by running the ball, you eliminate their confusing blitz packages. and their confusing defensive fronts. That's how you beat them. So, you know what? So let's say they did get in. They would have played San Francisco. Is that right? San Francisco or Minnesota? Drawing a blank here. They would have been the 7th seed. No, they would have played San Francisco. They wouldn't have beat San Francisco. I seriously think they could have beat Minnesota. They weren't going to beat San Francisco. So I'm going to disagree with you there. If they did get in, they would have played San Francisco. San Francisco would have won. San Francisco would have beat the Lions. San Francisco matches up good. And to tell you the truth, actually, the Lions match up great with San Francisco because their offensive line would counteract the defense. But the way that the 49ers offense kind of went through Seattle leads me to believe they would have done the same thing. So they would have put up 30-37 against the Lions probably. So I disagree with you there. However, going into 2023, I would pencil the Lions in the playoffs. I don't think that they would. There's so many questions in the NFC North. There's so many questions in the NFC North. But right now, I got the Lions as a 10-win team. Now we have to figure out are they going to be a plus or a minus in free agency? Because if you bring in 20 new players, which is possible, are you going to have that same chemistry? But if you keep everybody and then you add somebody like seriously, Ndamukong Suh, I think would be a great free agent signing. I think it would be fantastic. I really think that somebody like that, I would put that 10 up to like 11 or 12 because I think he would bring like the right attitude. Exactly. I didn't like this at all. And Willie Gay's an excitable young player, A+ athlete. But I'm telling you right now, he did not say the right thing. And you don't want to give the Bengals bulletin board material. If you're a Chiefs fan like I am, you're saying, oh, the Bengals are talking trash, Burrowhead. The only time I've heard Burrowhead is out of Chiefs fans, not Bengals fans. And when they asked Joe Burrow the same question, he gave this detailed list. You got Chris Jones, they got all these talented young corners, and so Chiefs minus 300 all year long. You can finally get them at what point? Yeah, right now the line is Chiefs minus 1.5. Yeah, plus 2 49ers, and I'll take the Chiefs money line. Are you really? I was playing around, because I know you're an Eagles fan. Wow. Cincy and Philly, book it. Hatters House and Wood Zero, welcome, brother. Hey, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Sal Maya signed his pink slip on hiring Hackett. Denver has experience with that. You know what? Yes and no. I like the Hackett signing for the Jets. I really like it a lot. But when you sign a former head coach and you're on the hot seat, and Salah's on the hot seat, you don't start off 7-2, miss the playoffs, and then go, well, hey, everything's fine. No, you got to make the playoffs. And he's a guy that if the offense looks good, and the defense takes a step back, which I don't expect, but if the defense does slip a little bit and the offense looks good, you got your replacement right there. And I think that what you're seeing in Denver is I think Denver's just a complete disaster right now. The Russell Wilson signing was a disaster. You could easily blame that. Whoever the quarterback is for the Jets, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, which is going to be such a great story. I'd love it if that happens. I don't see it, but it's going to be a story we're going to talk about quite a bit over the next couple months. Whether you want to go Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco, Mike White, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, whoever's going to be the quarterback. If the Jets offense looks better, Salah has his replacement. I think this is a great move. Breece Hall is a guy that I absolutely loved. I thought he was a possible MVP candidate. He looked like he was en route to Rookie of the Year. He goes down midseason. He comes back training camp 100%. They had some problems at the left tackle. Remember, they were like on their third string left tackle. They get the offensive line fixed up. Breece Hall comes back. That defense improves a little bit. They're a contender. They really are. Free to top G. I think I know where you're going. I think I know where you're going there. And yeah. I'm not going to go too much in that. Yeah. Cause it's, but yeah, I know where you're going there. I know where you're going with my boy. Who day, Joe A host. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that though. A house. Who day, man. I don't recognize you, but dude, it's awesome. Let's get some Bengals fans in here, man. That's great. Glad you're here. Please thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. I don't recognize you. So we need some Bengals fans in here. I'm going to go over both games in detail. I just haven't yet. I've just been talking, responding to comments and just talking. I didn't even have a chance to go over all the assistants, and I might not get a chance to. So I think Creed Humphrey is right there with Kelsey. We all know how long it takes linemen to get the recognition. Lane Johnson got his second first-team All-Pro since 2000. Yeah, Lane Johnson's fantastic. May not have deserved it this year because he missed some time, but he's been a fantastic right tackle. And he deserves a lot more recognition. So, yeah, Creed Humphrey. I'm not insulting Jason Kelsey by saying Creed Humphrey may be the best center in the NFL. I'm not insulting him at all. You have to realize he's 35, and Creed Humphrey I think is 25. I mean, it's just his second year, but he's playing like Creed Humphrey. If you're not familiar. Second round pick out of Oklahoma, one top offensive lineman. He's very unusual as a center. One of the things that they had to work on is he's a lefty. So it doesn't sound like much, but there's a huge difference when you're snapping the ball as a lefty and a right-handed. And he goes, "Do you want me to learn how to do it right-handed?" And they're like, "What are you used to?" And he goes, "I've been doing left hand my whole life." Well, do it the left hand. I'll catch the ball. It did take a little bit of work, but I mean, these are professionals, but it doesn't sound like much, but there's a big difference between a lefty snapping the ball and a righty snapping the ball. I mean, it just is. But he's built like a left tackle. He's like 6'5", 6'6". He's 305. Phenomenal movement skills. I mean, he's built like a left tackle. He's athletic. He could probably play NFL tight end. He'd tell him to drop 20 pounds. He could probably. I mean, he can move, and he's a big dude. Fantastic footwork. Excellent A+ athlete, but he's big and long. You can't bulldoze this dude. Usually you want a smaller, shorter, squattier guy because when you snap the ball, you get up and, you can jack, boom, you hit somebody like that. He has none of those problems. You can't bull rush this dude. This dude's like one of those, got that country strong strength, or you can like bench press a bull or something. It's just crazy. But watch a screenplay, watch him downfield, like running with linebackers and stuff. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. But yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, seriously, when everything's said and done, it wouldn't surprise me if Creed Humphrey ends up in the Hall of Fame, barring injury. Cincinnati. Okay. Let me. Cincinnati's run defense is amazing. Logan Wilson. Nobody's talking about him being one of the best linebackers in the National Football League, but he is. Their run defense is amazing. So what they've done is they've added some pieces. This is what's really neat is that they run a 4-man. They run a 4-3, but they have a lot of 3-4 elements. Trey Hendrickson and great, I'm 48 minutes in the show and Sam Hubbard. I'm sorry. Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard are undersized defensive ends. They probably are better fits for 3-4s, 3-4 outside linebackers. They're both long. They're both about 6'5", really good length. Both of them about 250, 260. All right. They're probably better suited, to be honest. They're probably better suited to be 3-4 outside linebackers than they are 4-3 defensive ends. They got two guys in the center that are like they rotate them in and out. They do. Cincinnati does such a fantastic job with their defensive line because they rotate guys in and out. They don't have guys that are they don't have anybody like Chris Jones, but they rotate guys in and out. Big, powerful run stuffers. Just a fantastic job of what they do. I love the Bengals defense. Like I could watch Bengals defensive clips all day long. I get a kick out of it. So here's the thing, because they do have a good run defense. All right. They really do. But what makes them exceptional is when they are able to get you in a pass heavy against the Bills. The Bills just went completely pass heavy, and they should have gone run heavy. They really should have gone run heavy. Because when you go run heavy and you can't do those exotic blitz packages, which they do such a good job. I love what they do. Because one of the things the Bengals do is they put 5, 6, 7 players near the line of scrimmage, and then they'll rush 3, and you have no idea where the blitz is coming from. Sometimes it's from one side, sometimes from the other side. Mike Hilton, one of the best nickel corners in the National Football League, is just awesome. Just doing a fantastic job. So, yeah, I'm not saying the run defense is bad, but no, what you want to do is you want to eliminate that exotic blitz package. You want to eliminate that, and that's why the Chiefs need to run the ball. I think Lane has arguably been, he has been. Wolf, Slayer, Ramzak are good, but Lane, when everything's said and done, Lane may be a Hall of Famer. Yeah. Slater. No, I get you. I'm with you, man. I agree. Yeah, there's not been a lot of trash talk from the Bengals. I follow a lot of Chiefs social media, so a lot of Chiefs social media are trying to build it up like the Bengals are doing a lot of trash talking. No. To be honest with you, most of the trash talk's been on the Chiefs side. Chris Jones in a press conference joked around saying, "Hey, see you guys at Burrowhead," but out of the I haven't heard Burrowhead uttered once from a Bengals player. I think that if you had to say who's doing more trash talking, I'd say it's the Chiefs. I really would. And the media is trying to build it up. Both teams overall are pretty good, but Willie Gay really kind of poked the bear. He really did. And man, I mean, I think Mahomes is better than Burrow, but like there's a lot of last year when I was predicting the Super Bowl, I predicted the Bengals would beat the Rams. And the reason why is I always look at NFL history, and the Bengals have a lot of similarities to the 80s 49ers. That's who that team reminds me of. And there's a lot of Joe Montana in Joe Burrow. They conduct themselves very similarly. They're both just kind of unflappable, ice water in the veins. And, I hate to say it because I'm a Mahomes fan, but Mahomes reminds me more of Dan Marino. Of course, the difference is, of course, he's won a Super Bowl, but it's going to be a fun game. But you're right. There's been more Chiefs talk than there has been Bengals talk. You want to talk about poking the bear? The 49ers did the dumb shit, put the jerseys on the Rocky. Oh, I did not hear that. Man. Yeah, Eli Apple talks. Eli Apple talks. I did not know about that. I disagree. I don't think so. He's an excellent offensive coordinator. He's not a good head coach, but I really think it's more of a microcosm of what a absolute disaster Denver is right now. So I think he's going to go, and I think he's going to do a good job. Now, keep in mind, you have to fix some things on the offensive line. They were on their third string left tackle right at the beginning of the year. Remember the gigantic man out of Louisville, 11th pick overall, like 370 and can run. I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. He went down early. They got a replacement. He went down. They picked up the guy who was with Seattle. I should know these names, but I don't. I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, they're on their third string left tackle. Breece Hall looked like he was going to run away with Rookie of the Year awards. He went down. They've been drafting wide receivers quite a bit over the last couple of years, and they also have Corey Davis. They gave a 3-year, $50 million deal to. He's never lived up to that, but yeah. One Pride 4 did it last season. Some fans said a few years ago, all they do is BS, and they end up, yeah. Slasher Ragnow should be in that conversation. Ragnow's better. Didn't Ragnow miss some time? You tell me. I don't know. Didn't Ragnow? If Ragnow missed any games this year, the answer is no. If he's missed any games, the answer is no. But if he played in all 17 games, we'd have to go back and forth. No, I don't think so either. Creed Humphrey might be the best center. I'll be honest with you, Creed Humphrey probably is the best center in football, but Jason Kelsey is going to get that name because he's been doing it for such a long time. But Creed Humphrey is a freak of nature. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not saying that. You tell me. Did Ragnu miss any games? Because if he did, it 100% goes to Creed. But I mean, I get it. I would take Kelsey, Humphrey, Hudson, Lindsey before I take Ragnow. I would have taken Hudson a couple years ago. I don't know about Hudson now. Hudson and Humphrey definitely. I'm not sure about Lindsey. Rags is a big center. I think he's top 5, maybe top 3. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you that he's top 5, maybe 3. Creed Humphrey's the best center in football, probably. And that's no disrespect to Jason Kelsey, but Creed Humphrey's probably the best center in football. Ryan Kelly from the Colts. I don't know. I don't know about Kelly. He didn't miss. He did not miss any time he played. Okay, all right. I don't know. It'd be an interesting question because I didn't watch as much Lions as I did Chiefs, but Creed Humphrey's probably the best center in football. But because of the name, Kelsey's getting the recognition. He won first team All Pro. Humphrey outplayed Jason Kelsey this year. I'm not exaggerating. Number 1 center, and he's one thing I will say that Humphrey does much better in Ragnow is he's got much more movement. His ability to get into the open field, the open space is better in Ragnow's. I will say that's not an argument. That's just a fact. Is Ragnow better? I don't know. I'd have to watch more of them, but I do know this: Humphrey has better movement. No center. Well, I shouldn't say no center, but there's only 2 or 3 that move better. So. Ragnow missed 1 game. I'm not saying he's bad, but when those guys are healthy that I named, I'm taking them over Ragnow, especially when taking into consideration. You could order Hudson 2 or 3 years ago was better than Ragnow. That's not a debate. Right now, today, I don't know. And Hudson, I don't even know if he's going to play or not. But it's a good debate. All right. Yeah, I'm not saying he can't, but Humphrey moves in a way that's just insane. Like he moves like he's a running back. It's freaky, and Ragnow's game's a little different. And one thing about Kansas City is they want to get guys on the outside. They like using the screen passes. So I mean, it's kind of nice. It's like apples and oranges. So. Jamal Williams had 17 touchdowns. All of them came up the middle. Yes, he played through a bum wheel for half the season. No debate. He's top 5. No debate. He's top 5, and no debate that he had a lot to do with Jamal Williams. And that's a guy that you may lose in free agency. Now it sucks because I love Jamal Williams. You guys are wrong. Zeke Elliott is clearly the best center. You know what, Denver Gator? We went 59 minutes. We didn't even talk about this yet. I've watched football for a long time, and I remember when they were lining up, I didn't know who was the center, but I remember watching this, and I'm like, this is maybe the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And here's why. If you just do one of the plays Kansas City did a couple years ago against Dallas that worked was instead of they sent everybody deep, and then they had Tyreek Hill just do a little 5 yards hitch. And then they had Tyreek Hill in the open field with like 4 blockers. That made sense. So when it first lined up, I'm like, this is stupid. Because I knew that that's what the plan was, is that they were just trying to get. I think what the plan was to just try to get somebody in the open field. But you're ruining the element of surprise by lining up in that type of formation. What I would have done is just lined up in a standard formation and then run the same play. And maybe the play would have worked, maybe it wouldn't. I would really, if you're a Lions fan, you really want Jamal Williams to stay, but he may not. It's going to be a great story this offseason. All right, so let's talk NFC and AFC conference title games. I'm going to go over everything, and then I was going to talk more about some of the assistant coaches, but we only got through a few, but there are a lot of specials on DraftKings. I would love to go over all of them. There was also some really good specials on my bookie, and I may take advantage of some of these. There's a few that I like, but I'm kind of I think I might just stay away. If you have any tips that you're wanting, please reach out to me on social media. I am going to watch the NFL PA game tomorrow. But up until I am going to do a live stream for the game. There is a live stream going on for the game, but I'm not going to hit that until there's not going to be a live stream. I'm sorry. I'm going to live stream. Let's see if I can get tongue-tied here. I'm going to do a live stream for the Chiefs-Bengals game. But I will be ready if you have any questions Saturday night. Sunday, I'm probably going to have my phone shut off the whole time. So if you want to get a hold of me, you have some questions, ask it Saturday. You can go really late. I'm talking really late Saturday night, like early Sunday morning, 4 or 5 in the morning. And so, all right. San Francisco versus Philly. Philly's a 2.5 point favorite. The over-under is 46. Slasher, I want to know, were you messing around? I was kind of teasing you, but I really want to know, what is your pick for this game? Who do you got? All right. If you watch my video breaking down, I'm going to give you the same thing. I'm going to give you the same exact statements. I really don't think that there's really too much to break down here. I really don't. And it sounds like I'm disrespecting a team. I'm not. I'm just calling it as I see it. You have a West Coast team traveling across the country to play in a brutal environment. You have a team that is on the verge of setting an all-time sack record if you count the playoff games. You have a defensive line that goes 8 deep. You got a couple future Hall of Famers on there. Was it Theo Reddick? I can't believe I'm drawing such a blank on these names today. I'm so embarrassed. But anyway, you got Theo Reddick. I know he's from Temple. I know he was in Arizona, then Carolina. So yeah. Josh Sweat is an alien athlete who has been banged up with injuries, but he's got some really, really good stuff. You have some really good linebackers and 2 fantastic corners. So I think that the way it's going to work is that one of these games is going to be really, really good, and one of these games is not. And I think this is going to be the game that's not going to be that good. I think Philly wins by double digits. I really do. And if it sounds like I'm disrespecting the Niners, I'm not. Every NFL quarterback has lost at least one game. Brock Purdy has not. And hey, look, it's such a great story. It's just such a great story, and it would be so much fun if the 49ers won, but I don't see it happening. I really do. I really see the Eagles winning by double digits. I really do. I don't think that this is going to be that good of a game. I really don't. I think I predicted 31-19. Seriously, I think Philly gets up early. I think Purdy just I think he, hey, Cinderella, the chime struck midnight. I don't see San Francisco being able to. This Philly team's just loaded. I think the crowd's going to be nuts. I think the environment's going to be nuts. I think it's just going to be too much. You got a rookie third-string quarterback who's played lights out all year. I mean, I'm not disrespecting San Francisco. I know 49ers fans, if there's any of them that watch my show, they're gonna hate me, but I'm telling you right now, I just don't see it. I would take the over because I think Philly just gets up. I really do. And if you're a 49ers fan and you're going to say, hey Dan, we got the number one defense. Yeah, I get that. I really, really get that. And it's a phenomenal defense, but I think Philly at home against what is a third string quarterback is just going to be too much. I think Philly wins this game by double digits. I don't think it's going to be a good game. I think it could potentially be a blowout. I think anytime San Francisco can get points on the board, field goals, touchdowns, I don't think they if like 4th and 3 or 4th and 4, like inside 30 or something like that. Kick field goals, try to get points, and everything just reset for DraftKings. So I would take the over. And the reason why I take the over is that I really do think it's going to be a blowout win. I really, really do. If you're a 49ers fan, you feel like I'm disrespecting your team. Look, I tell you this, but when your starting quarterback went down and you went to an NFC conference title game with a third string rookie quarterback who was the very last player chosen in the draft, that's an amazing accomplishment. That's something you should be proud of. You should be going into this offseason. Hey, we got Trey Lance. We can win with Brock Purdy. We got Christian McCaffrey. He's under contract. We got George Kittle under contract. We got Deebo Samuel under contract. We have to figure out, can we pay Brandon Ayuk? And then you also get some late round rookies. The defense is amazing. Hey, look, clock strikes midnight. In all fairness, 49ers fans, Dak Prescott doesn't throw those picks. Dallas probably beats you guys. That's just honest God truth. And I picked Dallas incorrectly. So. If you're a 49ers fan and you hate my guts, I understand. I really, really understand. But, a West Coast team traveling to the East Coast. I've never been to Philly before, but I can tell you Philly fans at Arrowhead suck. Like, there's not – I mean – That stadium's going to be nuts, man. I mean, nobody's talking about it because, the Chiefs, have the loudest stadium in the NFL, so people aren't talking about that. That Philly stadium's going to be nuts. And you got a third-string quarterback. I know he played in some big games. Everybody's talking about that big game he had. Him and Hurts went against each other in college. It's different. It's different. I really think Philly's going to get up early. I think that one of these games is going to be really good. One of these games is going to be like, and the game that's going to be so-so is going to be the first one. I think Eagles win. I think they win big. If I'm wrong, let me know. I'm not putting any action down. I'm toying around doing like some prop bet stuff, but probably not. I'm probably just going to watch 49ers Eagles and then do some show prep, try to make sure I don't forget names like I did today, and go from there. Well, I mean, here's the thing about the Lions. You guys have drafted so well. That's why you guys have drafted so well. That's why I didn't think that you guys should have traded up for Jamison Williams. But if he ends up being one of the best receivers in the NFL, I'll eat my words. I have no problem with that. Because you pick 6 and 18, you trade up. You're probably not picking number 6 again for a long time. So do you take a quarterback? When I look at this draft, the Lions are the ultimate wild card because it's 6. What the fuck are they going to do? Because I can tell you right now, okay, the Colts win a quarterback. The Raiders may be taking a quarterback. We'll have to wait till Brady's situation. If Brady ends up with the Raiders, it's going to be before the draft, not after the draft, okay? So we're going to know that right away going into the draft. If so, then Panthers won a quarterback, Colts won a quarterback, Raiders won a quarterback. All right, those are 3. All right, the Bears want to trade down. The Cardinals want to trade down. What the fuck does Detroit want to do? And that's the big question. And if I'm Detroit, we don't know. I want to pay attention to see how they handle this too, because do they publicly back off? Do they not publicly back off? How do you guys react if golf's not publicly backed? I want to. This is the Detroit at 6 is like I'm kind of circling that when it comes to draft, because what do they do? Let me ask you this here. I know what one Pride 40 is going to say, but I think there's going to be a lot of talk between now and the draft between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. I'm going to level with you. I think CJ Stroud's going to go number 1, and it's not going to be Chicago. It's going to be another team. I think Stroud's going to go. Let's say pick number 6 is your own. CJ Stroud is available. Do you take Stroud? And I think he's going to go number 1, by the way. I really do. I think teams are going to fall in love with him. I think they're going to like the fact that he's 220. I think they're going to like his size. I think they're going to like his composure. I think they're going to watch. I think that all these scouts are going to watch him tear apart Georgia in a game that they probably should have won. So I really do like the Chiefs. Sitting on the ankle doesn't really affect your intermediate passes. Not like his planner. They'll mix up a lot of runs, a lot of Tony on tricks plays. Kelsey, you kind of stole my thunder, because I think that they use Tony quite a bit in the backfield as a running back, and he's not really a running back, but that's kind of what I think is going to be kind of the magic, is that Cardavius Tony just brings something. He's just electric in the open field. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets about 10 touches in this game, maybe some carries, some bubble screens. I think what you're going to see early on is a lot of screen passes to try to offset what Cincinnati's going to do, and I think Tony's going to be involved, and I think Pacheco is going to be involved, and then. For those of you who don't know, McKinnon scored 9 touchdowns in the final 6 games. Like, he's just been putting up, and he's a phenomenal blocker. For those of you who don't know his whole story, he was actually a quarterback out of Georgia Southern and led them to a win over Florida. They didn't even make a pass. He's an option quarterback. But A-plus blocker has been a big part for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's probably going to have a big game. Pacheco's been running angry, and he's going to have to be key. Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick. Why the hell did I call him Theo Reddick? I'm sorry about that. Had at least 1 sack or more since November 27th. Eagles also had a stretch 23. Yeah, I'm telling you this right now, man. That defense in Philly could really go next level, because they can bring in so many guys. I mean, seriously, you got Sweat and Reddick. You could take both those guys out, plug in 2 other players, and they're good to go. They got so many guys. It's just crazy. But come on, guys, you don't want to see a Mr. Irrelevant in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's never happened. That he quarterbacked the Super Bowl. No, it hasn't, and it would be a great story, and I'd be more than happy to eat my words. I have no problem with doing that, but I'm telling you right now, I think the clock strikes midnight in Philly. It's going to be a brutal environment. They're going to make it hard. The defense is going to just – I think you're going to see a lot of crazy stuff from the defense. It wouldn't surprise me if you see, like, some turnovers. I'm not trying to be a jerk here to 49ers fans. I don't think that this is even going to be a good game. I think it's going to be like from the first snap to the end of the game. I think it's going to be Philly. I think forget the final score. I think Philly's going to dominate this game. I really do. I don't think we're going to see like 2 great games. I think Kansas City and Cincinnati is going to be a great game, and I think Philly, San Francisco is not. And I think the Eagles are going to get up, and I think the 49ers are just, that's how I say it. next season. But the Lions would. Okay. So I'm gonna talk out both sides of my mouth. I want you guys to keep saying this. I want you guys drink the Kool-Aid. Do this. I do this blue Kool-Aid. Do this. Chug the blue Kool-Aid. Keep saying this. Realistic expectations are playoffs, not winning the division. I seriously, the Jets are going to be an interesting team. The Commanders, that's a team we need to talk about. They need a quarterback. What are they going to do? When if they draft Hooker? Warren Sapp says he has heard the Bears are trying to send off Justin Fields and draft Bryce Young first. I don't believe that at all. I really don't. And I'm not calling Sapp a liar, but I don't believe that at all. I think that you made all those changes in the offseason because you're building around Fields for the future and you need multiple draft picks. I did my very first mock draft. I set it up. I'm not a big fan of Pro Football Talk, but I used their draft simulator and they had a few trades in there, but they had the Bears taking Paris Johnson, the Ohio State tackle, #1 overall. And since it did have a couple trades in there, which was in some interesting trades, I didn't say that they had both the Colts and no, I'm sorry. I had the Panthers and the Packers trading up. The Packers jumped up to 9 and drafted a quarterback, which I thought was interesting. And then the Panthers traded up to 7 and drafted a quarterback. The rest of the draft was really, really good. It had I'm trying to remember what it had the Lions doing. I think it had the Lions taking the Clemson defensive tackle. And then I want to say Joey Porter. I don't remember the corner. It was a corner at 18, and then the Clemson defensive tackle at 6. But no, I don't see that at all. I think that you got your guy. Now you got to build around him, and you can get a lot of draft capital. I don't believe that at all. Holmes answered the question already. He says he understands the value of drafting a kid and grooming him behind the vet. He has also said that he will not have the same issue as last year with the backup this year. So he says that he understands the value. Okay, so this sounds like see we disagree. I think saying this it adds ambiguity. That to me isn't an answer. That's just talk. And I think that's what you want to do. Is you want to go ahead and you want to try to build the value up to the 6 pick, because if I'm the Lions personally, I don't want to pick 6 unless it's a quarterback. If you don't plan on taking a quarterback at 6, I want to get out of that pick and I want to add a lot of young talented players, because you have an opportunity if you can trade down, because you have 2 picks in the second round, you can get potentially 3 or 4 starters. And I think you could trade down and you can get creative in the second round, because there's going to be a player who should be drafted in the first round, go in the second round. There is every year. And that would be where the Lions should trade up. But if I'm in the first round, I try to trade down and maybe get some help either on the outside or the inside. You guys have to tell me, are they going into the season saying, hey, we got Houston and we got Hutchinson, we got Double H, we're good. We just need somebody in the interior. I mean, you guys tell me, are they like, you know what? Ozurike, this is his year. You guys tell me. Because when I look at the Lions, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if Houston's the answer. I mean, do you think that one of these edge rushers, I don't know the grades, are one of these edge rushers significantly better than one of these inside guys? You guys tell me. I really hope it happens last year, because I have to do an app work. Last year, they went into camp not having clues to back up. None of them even made it to I forgot about that. They really liked one of those guys. He ended up not making the team. Brock, that's good. I like that. I like that. Avante Maddox, their nickel corner, is healthy too. He's been playing good defense, is now 100%. I think Philly can control the game, but never be way ahead. That's fair. I mean, seriously though, a 10-point lead could be huge because I don't think that San Francisco. I mean, the Dallas defense is not terrible, and they held them to 19 points. And I could see Philly doing the same thing. So like the score could be, 17-7, and I think that might be too much. So yeah, I can see that. You know what? It'd be such Bears things to do though, and he would go somewhere like the Jets. And the Bears, exactly. That's why it's not going to happen. I can almost guarantee you. Hendon Hooker, that would seriously that would work perfect. I'll be honest with you. I think he's going to go. I don't have the numbers, but you're picking late in the third, right? If Hendon Hooker is available, this is kind of why you want to trade down if you can, is you want to get some extra picks. But if you don't take a quarterback at 6, I think the smart move would be to trade down. But let's say you're stuck at 6. You have to answer the following questions. All right, is Houston my guy on the outside? That's number one. How do you feel about Ozarike? Because you got McNeil, who's a pretty solid player, not spectacular. I mean, you could do better, but he's a pretty good player, I think. I mean, you guys watch more Lions football than I do. So here's kind of questions I'm asking. Is Houston that guy? Because if you're convinced he is, you don't need draft an edge rusher at 6. You definitely want to trade down. How do I feel about Ozarike? Is he got potential to be a starter? Can you move him? Because this was a guy who had a first-round grade. You guys got him early in the second round. Does he have any value, even a 6? Even get rid of him for a 6th-round draft pick. As an extra player, used the 6th-round pick. You got Malcolm Rodriguez, so you never know. Those are the 2 top questions. All right. Third question is, how do you feel about your inside linebackers? Do you want to draft one that high? I know it sounds crazy, but I mean, there's not Devin White, there's not Devin Bush in this draft, but you just say, hey, look, you know what? We need help. We're just going to pick the best player available, best player that fits. Yeah, we're going to draft a guy 10 spots too early, but you guys done it before. Michael Mayer, he's the number 1 tight end in the draft. How do you feel about him? Do you want to take him top 10? I mean, you got rid of Hutchinson. You say, hey, look, it's a cap casualty. Let's draft a guy who's got a lot of similar characteristics. I mean, there's a lot of questions. So I think third's going to be too late. I think if you'd like Hendon Hooker, you'd take him in the second. If Patrick Mahomes is drafted, it's funny. A long time ago, and I done follow a lot of these people. I asked Bill's Mafia, "Hey, what would you do if Mahomes was drafted in Buffalo?" And the girl responded. It was a Bill's Mafia lady. I had to unfollow her because after the Chiefs beat the Bills, she just went total nuts. She said we wouldn't handle it right. We would have been wasting his talent. So, and at the time, who knows what would have happened. But by the way, don't be too mad at Carson Wentz, because that trade is really kind of what propelled Philly to be a great story. And Philly has 2 picks in the draft. That's going to be a lot of fun for them. Honestly, need to see what happens in free agency. The Lions lost only 1 game after Pascal, Bugs, and Kaminsky are on the field together. Need to keep Bugs. We're at the. You guys are going to have to tell me, because you guys are going to have to tell me, because I mean, if you guys really like the Houston Hutchinson combo, you draft interior on 6. and then if you're keeping a bunch of other guys and you like Ozarike, why pick a guy at 6 just to, maybe he's a rotational player? Doesn't make any sense. And you definitely want to trade down. Or do you just flat out say, hey, look, we're going to take, we'll take the best corner available at 6, and you may be able to pick your player there. The Lions to me are the ultimate wild card in this draft at 6. And if I'm the Lions, hey, maybe we'll take a quarterback, maybe we don't. Lions are really kind of like, I'm circling 6, and I'm like, what are these guys going to do? My girlfriend, who is a certified goblin in this draft, goes by. Yeah, I seriously think that this is the guy that unless I'm absolutely sold on James Houston, this would be the guy I would target if I was the Detroit Lions. Like, this would be the guy. I think this guy could be a monster. If I'm stuck at 6, I'm taking the best cornerback. If you trade back to 9, you may lose out on your guy. I love Trenton Simpson, but I'm more than okay with Overshawn on day 2. Ben Johnson doesn't use a tight end. Well, maybe he didn't like the guy. I don't know. Maybe a guy like Dalton Kincaid out of Utah might be a better fit. Dalton Kincaid's more of a pure receiver. Because he might be somebody that you take at 18. So who knows? A lot of questions with the Lions. It's going to be a lot of fun too. Slasher, I like Wilson. I'm just worried about his foot. We're going to talk a lot about this in the upcoming weeks. Shouldn't be fine. Doesn't do anything 100% for pro days and combine once you roll around. Although it isn't the greatest to be taking time away from training. Yeah. He may look rusty at first overall, but he is, I think so too. I really do. I seriously, and by the way, I think there's almost no chance the Bears pick at number 1, but if I do pick at number 1, I'm probably taking Tyree Wilson. Drew Sanders, I don't even know who that is. All right. So I know you guys are sitting here and you're wondering, who am I picking between the Bengals and the Chiefs? Who am I picking? I can't be objective. I can't. I've been a Chiefs season ticket holder since '89. Bengals fans are easily the biggest douchebags in the world leading up to the AFC title game and afterwards. I unfollowed a lot of them. Nothing the Bengals were doing or saying made any sense. But I love the way that they're conducting themselves. I think the Chiefs are given more bulletin board material than the Bengals. Arrowhead hopefully is rocking. I'll be honest with you, the last couple of years, it's not been the same level of intensity when I've been there. I hope it is this time. Here's my attempt to be non-biased. Here's my attempt. A banged up offensive line can have a good game. You can be a backup and have a good game. You can step in and have a good series, what have you. But when you're starting 3 backup offensive linemen against a really good defensive line in Kansas City, I have a hard time believing that that's an advantage. I was blown away by how well the Bengals offensive line dominated Buffalo. And I think a lot of that has to do with would Von Miller have made that big of a difference in the running game? No. But I was really surprised that the Bills' defensive line didn't dominate. Now, one thing it's different between Leslie Frazier and Steve Spagnuolo likes to blitz. He likes to get a little creative, where Leslie Frazier runs, the quote-unquote kind of Tampa 2 defense. So with the Bills' defense, you don't see anything overly exotic. They don't do a lot of blitzing. They basically kind of do the same thing. It's just they do it at a really high level, and they have some really good players. But I mean, there's a lot of high draft picks on the Bills defensive line over the last couple of years. I really thought that the Bills defensive line, if you watch my video, I say if the Bengals have a healthy offensive line, I like the Bengals, but a banged up offensive line. I'm going to say the same thing again. A banged up offensive line. Look, I'm sorry. You can't tell me that a guy who's not good enough to start is just going to come in and shut down Pro Bowl players. And that's what you got on the Kansas City defensive line. Chris Jones is very good, folks. Frank Clark, he had a sack last week. He's playing really good. They got this rookie Karlaftis. He's really starting to play pretty good ball. They got some other guys, Carlos Dunlap, Kalen Sanders, Ndamdi. I'm butchering his name. I'm even going to try. So, again, I can't be unbiased, but when you have 2-3 new starters on the offensive line, you're going against a good defensive line. I like the good defensive line. Burrow has been playing lights out. I love the way the Bengals have been conducting themselves during the week. Chiefs fans are trying to make it sound like they're doing a lot of trash talk, and they're not. If anybody, it's Chiefs. Also, I kind of like Andy Reid in this one. I think coaching advantage, Arrowhead, banged up offensive line. I think these indicate towards Kansas City, but there's a reason why the Bengals have beaten the Chiefs 3 straight times. So they match up very, very well against Kansas City. I think that Kansas City should run the ball more, and I've said this several times, but let's see what happens. I do like the Chiefs. I'm not betting on this game. If you did like the Chiefs, you took them when they were an underdog, not a favorite. So I like Kansas City. I can't be objective, but I think that you're going to see the 2 best teams in the NFL. By the way, I don't even remember the last time. Usually the 1 seed doesn't make it. Usually 1 to 1 seeds get knocked out. So which one is it? I think it's more likely that the Chiefs would lose than the Eagles. I will say that. Out of the, you had to say, hey, Dan, only one of the number 1 seeds are going to advance. I'm going to say it's going to be the Eagles. Like I really think the Eagles are going to get in. I like the banged up for the Chiefs. I like the banged up offensive line against a really good defensive line. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Houston and Hutch on pass downs, Hutch and Pasco on run downs. Kaminsky can play both in and out. McNeil's and Bugs in the middle. It's hard to take a second guy for here when you need a number 1 corner. See, I think Okuda's your number 1 corner. So that's kind of the way I look at it. That's why if you're drafting a corner, I think higher of Okuda than you do, but and Daniel Jeremiah thought the same thing. He liked Witherspoon, the guy out of Illinois, and I don't know too much about him. I'm gonna do a lot of research. There's some really good corners in this draft. Let me ask you this though, Funk. How would you feel about safety at 18? Brian Branch out of Alabama played a little bit of corner, a little bit of safety. Like that's a guy I think that would like be a nice fit. If I remember correctly, the guy he signed from Baltimore, I think he's on a 1-year deal, and I could be wrong about that. But what about safety? I like Drew just overshone a little more. Slasher for the Lions, I don't think that they can take anyone with injury question this season. Last 2 seasons they could, but now whoever they take needs to be available day 1. Philly could take them. I hate the NFL, man. Listen, man, I've never seen you before. So, man, welcome, man. This is some great content. Please give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I love it. I hate the NFL. This is great. George Kaliftis, 6 sacks over the last 6 weeks. Yeah. A lot of times you get guys that hit the rookie wall, but one thing that the Chiefs have done a really good job is putting the rookies in spot situations. They haven't asked – George Kaliftis doesn't play more than more than 60% of the snaps. He's kind of the quote unquote starter, but Dunlap plays quite a bit. Mike Hanna's a guy that's pretty underrated. He's a guy that's getting in there as well. So Karlaftis is getting adjusted, and they really haven't been using him quite a bit. So I mean, he's fresh and ready to go. There's some depth on the Chiefs defensive line. That's one thing that's been kind of underrated about this Chiefs defense, is that last year they only had 30 sacks, and then I think this year they have close to 50. But the Chiefs defensive line in allowed Arrowhead Stadium, and they rotate a lot of guys. It's going to be a big game. I'm thinking about putting some money on Chris Jones getting a sack. Karlaftis getting a sack might be better money. So who's better than Thibodeau? I'll be honest, I don't know who this guy is. So I was pretty big on Karlaftis coming out. I started liking it. You were the one who brought Karlaftis to me. You were the one who's like, Dan, you need to watch this guy. And I was like, all right. And I thought he was better suited to be an outside linebacker than a defensive end. But you turned him on to me, and he's done phenomenal in Kansas City. He's a guy I think next year could be a double-digit sack guy. You were the one who turned him on to me, and I honestly I had him ranked in the second round because he wasn't a great athlete. He was a high motor guy, and I was kind of worried. A lot of times you get a high motor guy in the NFL, but no, he's been lights out. Phenomenal draft pick by Kansas City. That's why I'm asking you guys, is Houston and Hutchinson the guy you're rolling into 2023 with? Because if so, do you want to use that pick at 6 for an edge rusher, or do you want to use a guy on the inside? That's why it's such a wild card. Because if you didn't have Hutchinson blow up, or let's just say, well, it was good, but just okay. Then use that for one of these edge rushers that's going to be available at 6. So, okay, so here's the drill. I didn't think he was a top 10 guy, but he had a first round grade. So he didn't participate in the combine, if I remember right. But I know at his pro day, he ran like a 4.72. I think his vertical was like 30, and it wasn't bad. Like I wouldn't say he had a bad pro day, but it wasn't great. I mean, he wasn't one of these guys that had and remember, his numbers went down too. His numbers, I think he only had like 4.5 or 5.5 sacks going into his senior year. He had a much better junior year. And then he didn't have eye-popping numbers on the metrics. So they were like, well, is this guy an overachiever? Because a lot of times you get a guy who's an overachiever in college. He just doesn't have the athleticism to succeed in the NFL. And that's what people are talking about. Also, as a pure defensive end, he's 6'3", which is, I'm 5'8", so he's a big dude compared to me. But he didn't have a lot of length. And that was one thing about Kansas City. Kansas City was trying to get guys, that had a little more length. And that's something Karlaftis didn't have. So I was kind of surprised. Because I really thought Karlaftis was more of a 3-4 outside linebacker. But so to answer to your questions, I didn't think he was top 10. He didn't have a great senior season, and his pro day, because I don't think he competed at the combine. I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure he didn't compete at the combine. But I know his pro day was so. He ran up 4.72. He didn't jump that well. But one thing that he did excel in was the individual drills. He looked fluid. He looked athletic. He was a guy that, like I said, I really thought he would be a 3-4 guy. But he's excelled. And seriously, the ceiling is very high for him, especially when you got a guy like Chris Jones in the middle. I did not know this. So, yeah, if Elliott leaves and Branch would be fine. Okay. Yeah, I seriously, I thought he was. I thought he was like a Pro Bowl corner. That's me. That's me. That's Funk. Funk, that's not you. That's me. So. Funk, did you check out JL Skinner? I have not. You've been telling me about him, and I haven't watched him yet. That was me. I thought he was playing at a Pro Bowl level, so I'll take the. Okay. By the way, there's been multiple mock drafts with Antonio Johnson coming to Kansas City. So let's. This is the guy I want the Chiefs to draft, and so I hate the NFL. I don't recognize you, so please keep joining me in the future because we're on the same page here. Because this is the guy I've been like not wanting to mention, but this is the guy I want the Chiefs to draft. If you're not familiar, this is a former 5-star player who Texas A&M had kind of like a weird year last year. They beat LSU last game of the season, but they started a losing record. But this is a guy, he didn't have a great year, but this is a former 5-star player who's a 5-star athlete. This is a guy that you're going to hear about quite a bit over the next couple of months. And this is the guy that I want to be the Chiefs draft pick. And I would not be upset if the Chiefs traded up for this guy. But yeah. Right now, he's grading out as a late first-round pick. But I think he's going to go to the combine, and I think he's going to play lights out. And I think you're going to see him go from being right now. I've seen a mock draft or two with him going to Kansas City. I've seen a few mock drafts where he's in the late 20s. Right now, let's just say 25 to 35. That's where his grade is. It's going to move up from probably like 20 to 30, maybe higher. But yeah, he's my – Dan, who do you want to be the Chiefs pick at 30 or 31? If the Chiefs, win the AFC conference title game, it's Antonio Johnson. Yeah. And so like we're thinking the same thing. So I definitely want you to stick around. And I hope to hear from you more. I hate the NFL because that's the guy I want to Chiefs. The Arkansas. Oh God. Yes. A guy I know you're talking about. He's a guy that I'm really high on too. And he's a guy that would be perfect. I haven't seen a mock draft with him going to Detroit, but that would make a lot of sense. That's interesting. You're the first person to say this. I didn't think he was a slot guy at all, to be honest with you. I mean, he's a big dude. He's a 6 foot, 200-pound dude. I remember he lit it up at the combine. He actually reminds me a lot of Marshawn Lattimore, and that's kind of what the guy I see him being like. I don't see him as this at all, but that's interesting that you're saying that. And what Slasher's saying is that Okuda be better in the slot. He's got quick twerk and fast hips. They can't backpedal fast enough to stay with receivers and go routes when they break in. That's interesting. AP used to shade safety to help his number one cornerbacks last year. Armani looked good because he had help. This year, Okuda started the season getting help. Then AP got fired and they exposed Okuda. I didn't know that. Okuda's built more to play a box safety role. That I know Luke G says that he wants him to play safety. I think he's an outside corner, and I think he has all the tools to be a number one corner. But you guys really think that he's going to go ahead and I think he's an excellent corner, but I would love for him to get a running mate. But I think it'd be better. Again, if you're sold on Houston, go ahead, but I would like to see them use pick number 6 if you're staying at 6, solidify the front 7, and then pick 18, get a corner to be the number 2 guy opposite Okuda. But I really believe the Chiefs are going to take a look at him if they don't sign Juan Thornhill. Antonio Johnson can do all he's predicted. He's going to run the low 4.4s, come down to hit just like Derwin. I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't think the Chiefs really want to sign Thornhill unless it's like a 1-year, $2 million deal. They're not sold on him. He hasn't proven that he's the guy. I'm still mad because Juan Thornhill was picked 63. DK Metcalf was picked 64. And I now if you're familiar, I don't want to rant too long, but the Chiefs drafted Miracle Hardman earlier in the draft, and that was a big reach. He would have been available. Okay, I'm going to keep the rant. Okay. They traded up for Miracle Hardman because Tyreek Hill at the time was in legal issues, turned out to be a non-factor. They drafted Juan Thornhill at the time because they needed his safety help, and he was a good draft pick. I mean, he played some corner, played some safety. They had some versatility. He just hasn't panned out in the NFL. This was the last year on his contract. This is a prove it year, and he's been okay. He's just been a guy. He hasn't done anything spectacular. Antonio Johnson, I want Antonio Johnson because Antonio Johnson would be a guy I would just sign day one. The Chiefs used a second-round pick on Byron Cook, who's played really good, but the Chiefs like to use Byron Cook. They call it the big nickel, where he basically plays a linebacker. He has played some cover too, and has played in the deep part of secondary, but he's not, that's not really the Chiefs design for him. They want him to be the more strong safety type. And this dude, Antonio Johnson, I think is more of a free safety, even though you're saying he can hit like Derwin James and he's physical and he's a big dude. Yeah, he can do all these things. So, but he's a guy that I think the Chiefs would want to use as your free safety. And then Byron Cook would be your strong safety, and then he would play deep in the box when the Chiefs go to the big nickel package. It's something that they really like to use. But, yeah, Antonio Johnson, if you had to say, give me a guy that Chiefs are targeting, it's Antonio Johnson. And I love this kid because he has an insane high ceiling, very, very much like Derwin James. Tape was so. Derwin James' tape was not overly impressive, to tell you the truth. You saw the athleticism, but he didn't make a lot of big plays. And when he was at Florida State, he had a losing record. By the way, the head coach of both those places is Jimbo Fisher. So, I mean, there's some similarities there. And you're going to see a lot of the Derwin James talk, which I haven't said myself, but I hate the NFL. You're 100% correct. He's going to get a lot of comparison to Derwin James. He's going to rise up through draft boards, but he's the guy that I really want the Kansas City Chiefs to draft. Sanders is a kneecap biter, hoping for a more primetime game, and so is Skinner. We're going to do a lot of draft talk. Chiefs have like 14 draft picks this year, and they're not drafting. Okay, yeah. So I didn't know they had 14, to be honest with you. I know you're including the comp picks in there. That might not be accurate. I'm not going to question you. I'm just saying it may not be. It could be. If it is, then they're definitely not taking 14 players. And one thing the Chiefs do quite a bit is trade up in later rounds, and so far they've been successful in doing that. We've got some good picks. Our fourth round, actually our third, fourth, fifth round picks are all solid. Even though our fifth round pick hasn't played down in the NFL, they were looking at him to be a starting right tackle. He's just not a tackle. However, Kennard, I talked about Trey Smith. Kennard might have to step in because Trey Smith's going to get a lot of money when he becomes a free agent, and you may have to use Kennard to replace Trey Smith or Joe Thurney if he ends up being a cap casualty. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. Also, the way you make it sound like Chiefs fans and turned into egotistical maniacs, they kind of did, man. They really kind of did. I mean, the Mahomes hype's insane. Chiefs fan. Now, keep in mind, I blocked a lot of people off Bengals social media, and I follow a lot. I mean, the ratio of Chiefs on my Twitter feed, the ratio to Chiefs to Bengals is over 10-1. I guarantee you. Because Bengals fans are just obnoxious. I mean, just stupid and obnoxious. So I follow a lot more Chiefs, but yeah. Yeah, Chiefs fans, you have to understand something, Funk. God, how did I say this not being a dick? This is the fifth straight AFC Championship game at Arrowhead. Fifth straight. Chiefs fans are losing their mind. This is like, you don't remember, but for the older guys, this is like the Bulls of the 90s, the Patriots over the last 20 years. If the Chiefs didn't get to an AFC Championship game at Arrowhead, it would have been looked at as a loss. Patrick Mahomes. Let me put it this way. a Chiefs fan put in, is Patrick Mahomes, if he retired today, and this was before the playoffs started, would Patrick Mahomes be a top 20 quarterback of all time? And I responded, if you're going today, I have to think about it, but probably just probably not top 20. And I got hate, like nasty hate responses because I didn't think Patrick Mahomes was the top 20 quarterback of all time. And I didn't even say no. I said I have to think about it, but probably not. And now in NFL history, I would put a couple guys that most people wouldn't. I would put guys like, Sammy Ball, Otto Graham, Sid Luckman over Mahomes. Okay. And reason why, these guys are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Mahomes isn't yet. So yeah, there's a lot of seriously. There's more trash talk on the Chiefs side than there is the Bengals side, fans wise. And listen, when you've been to 5 straight AFC championship games in your house, it's hard not to be that way. It's something that's difficult. I mean, shit, you guys won 9 games last year and you're talking about winning your division. So, yeah. This seriously could happen. And yes. It really did. Mahomes has changed everything. Instead of being a diehard Chiefs fan, I'm a diehard Mahomes fan. There's a lot of guys, if Mahomes went to Carolina, let's just say, a lot of fans would go to Carolina. I mean, and I brought this up. Big Chief Sean, he hasn't been around in a while. I was on Big Chief Sean's show, and I said, well, Brady's in Tampa Bay. Favre finished his career in Minnesota. Joe Montana's in Kansas City. So one day, Mahomes may be, 10, 15 years down the line, Patrick Mahomes may finish his career in Dallas. No. Here, Kansas City for life. And I was like, Tom Brady's in Tampa Bay. No. And that's just the mentality Chiefs fans have right now. It's crazy. It's really crazy. And yeah, if Mahomes left, a lot of Chiefs fans would go with him. But I mean, the dude's the best player in the NFL. I mean, the face of the NFL right now is Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs organization's never had that. The closest they've had is at times Derek Thomas in the late 90s. Joe Montana as a Chief was in the KCI. I think it's called MCI, but the Kansas City Airport. Joe Montana as a Chief, like that picture was there, like in 15 years later. It was nuts. So like, there's not been a guy like Mahomes in Kansas City ever. There's nothing even really close. You could say maybe Derek Thomas in the 90s, maybe like that's the very closest. You have Len Dawson, but I mean, it just was a different era, a different time. So, I mean, Chiefs fans have lost their mind. I mean, 5,050. I'd argue that this year might have been better, but I mean, God, I'm hesitant to even say this, but I mean, a biracial quarterback, married, kids, does these fantastic commercials, like the most likable guy. I'm expecting him to do Saturday Night Live, which I would be obsessed with. I mean, people are making fun of him because he sounds like Kermit the Frog. He kind of does. Puts ketchup on everything. I mean, just he's everything that you want. If you're a TV executive, there's no, like, Aaron Rodgers is kind of a dick. All right. Aaron Rodgers is kind of a dick. All right. Joe Burrow has this like cool thing, but it's not like a cool marketable thing. Josh Allen, yeah, he's got all this crazy athletic talent and he's a fun guy and everything, but it's different. It's different. Mahomes is everything that you want. Everything that you want. There's nothing wrong with Mahomes. He does these crazy. It's like Michael Jordan on steroids. It really is. Seriously, the Burrowhead thing has been said. I have not heard one Bengals fan or one Bengals player call it Burrowhead. I've just been hearing it. Um, I've just been hearing it from Chiefs fans. So yeah. I believe Lions are a year or two away from being one of those powerhouse teams. They already have the offense. They when you say a year away, I think they could be an offseason away. I think it could be this year. They got the 6th pick in the draft. They had the 18th pick in the draft. They have a lot of young talent. They did lose a key executive to Arizona, and that could hurt them. He was the director of college scouting, I believe, and that could be a big one because they drafted. I gave the Lions. I hate the NFL. I'm not sure how familiar you are from my work. I do a ton of draft stuff, and I'm thinking about switching it up. And when after the combine, I think I'm going to do picks like 1 through 4, and then 5 through 8, and then every week just do sections. I was doing individual picks. I think I'm going to switch. Anyway, I do a lot of draft stuff. I gave the Lions a C- grade, and you're seeing all the Lions chat in here. These guys hated me, and I said, this is not a good draft. You traded up for a player who you're trading up for a player who's not going to be able to play almost at all this year. And then the Lions fans here were telling me, no, he's going to play around week 3, week 4. And that didn't happen. But then Rodriguez started, flashing. I said, no, he's back up. I was wrong. I didn't know anything about James Houston. I was 100 1,000,000% correct on Hutchinson. These guys, by the way, all the Lions fans that you're seeing here, all of them, they're going to lie about it now. And they're going to tell you they didn't. They didn't want Hutchinson. They wanted, come on, you know who you wanted. You wanted the guy the Ravens picked. You wanted the safety. You were trying to tell me, oh, this is the guy. And I was like, no, it's going to be, it's going to be Hutchinson, and you guys are going to love him. And I was right. You guys, Hamilton. You guys wanted Hamilton. You're gonna tell me, no, we didn't want Hamilton. Yeah, you guys wanted Hamilton. But yeah, they're doing such a great job. I might be this offseason. It may be next year, but yeah. Oh God, you got Burrow. Lawrence is my pick to be MVP. I'm telling you right now, Trevor Lawrence probably going to be the MVP. Josh Allen has a crazy amount of athletic talent. They got to quit him running the ball. Dorsey should not be a head coach candidate, but he is. I don't remember Garrett Wilson, but you didn't want Hamilton. Okay, here's the Funk didn't want Hamilton at 2, but he wanted to trade back. I don't remember you saying anything about Garrett Wilson. I'm gonna tell you that, but yeah, I as soon as it was ready, I'm like, Hutchinson's going to be the pick, and Lions fans are going to love him. Joe Burrow is the new day Elvis Presley. I don't know if he's that popular. He kind of rubs some people the wrong way, but God, he reminds me a lot of Montana. I've watched a lot of NFL history. Watch my videos, top 10 teams that never made the Super Bowl, and top 10 Super Bowl teams of all time. I show a lot of 49ers clips, and the way Montana conducts himself and the way Burrow conducts himself is eerily similar. They're both very, very similar type players. And it's funny because they kind of have the same skill set too. Montana earlier in his career was never a running quarterback, but very mobile. There was one game that I put a lot of I'm going to tell you this. I wanted to I put a lot of clips in. I didn't talk about too much. It was a game against the Eagles. He got sacked 8 times, just kept getting up, and he threw like 4 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. And it's just Burrow reminds me of that. There's a lot of Joe Montana and Joe Burrow. There really is. There really is. There's nothing but respect on this side. And by the way, I hate the NFL. If you're not aware, I've had Chiefs season tickets since '89. I'm a diehard Chiefs fan, but I want to build a community where I get 32 fan bases in. And as you can tell, I love my Detroit Lions guys. These guys are loyal. These guys are faithful. I may turn you off by saying this: Lions fans easily got Chiefs fans beat as far as loyalty and knowledge and love. I mean, these guys are fantastic. I love all these guys, and I'm hoping to grow my channel bigger, and I'm hoping I can do some more stuff for Lions fans. But yeah. I was originally not going to. So here's the deal. I'm in a group text, and I got a bunch of friends, and one of them goes to Chiefs games. One of them, my boy Mike Buffa, used to come on my show, and his wife hates me. So his wife told him that if you come on the show one more time, I'm going to divorce you because I hate Dan. I'm joking. Terry's actually fantastic, but he was doing the show with me. At the beginning of the year, couldn't do it. He does a lot of different stuff. So I'm hoping to have Mike Buffa be able to come on again in the future. But so anyway, I'm in a group text, and all these guys are like, Dan, you got to do something for the show. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to. Maybe I should, because the Monday after the draft. All right. So I have a system. I've been obsessed with the draft since 1990. I've been completely obsessed with the draft. So here's how this works. I have a notebook, and I write down, this year it's going to be 1 through 31, but 1 through 32. And I write down the players, I write down, the grades, and then rounds 2 through 7, I'd make adjustments on the grades. I got a whole system of how I do it. Monday, I'm going to go live, and I'm going to do my draft grades. And I'm going to go into a lot of detail. I did a video last year, and everybody hated it. Nobody liked it. I gave the Lions a C-. Alex, he's not here today. He's a diehard Texans fan. I gave the Texans a C-. I didn't like their draft at all. I didn't realize Petrie is going to be that good. I'd probably revisit that. But I gave the Chiefs a B+. And it wasn't because of what they did in the first, second rounds, because of rounds 3, 4, and 5. So I'm being a little facetious here. Yeah, you guys have just been phenomenal. I seriously, every single Lions fan that comes on my show, I wish there was I could do something for you guys, because without you guys, this channel sucks. I mean, I love you guys. I really mean this from the bottom of my heart. I no facetiousness, no nothing. And I want to get more involved. I need to get Luke on here a lot more. Luke told me, he's like, Dan, just ask. I'll come on. I'd love to do. By the way, I hate the NFL. There's a guy named Luke G Field Review, big time Lions fans. If you're into the NFL draft, you have to follow Luke G Field Review. There is not a better guy when it comes to about breaking down prospects and players. Now, he does players that are for the Detroit Lions, so he's not doing all 32 teams, but he can talk all 32 teams easy. But yeah. As a Chiefs fan, I can tell you 80% of the kingdom wanted Chris Olave. I wanted I think it's Olave, but yeah, I wanted Olave, and he would have been perfect in Kansas City. So so here's what happened. When the Chiefs traded up to 21 to draft McDuffie, I was convinced they were going to take Jermaine Johnson, because Jermaine Johnson was the number one pass rusher, and he was free falling in the draft. I'm like, so I told everybody it's Jermaine Johnson. They drafted Trent McDuffie, and I was like, Now here's the positive. Don't believe the bullshit that you're hearing from Bills fans. Bills fans wanted McDuffie. They settled for Khalil Elam, but there's no way the Bills were going to be able to trade with the Patriots. And the Patriots won both of those trades technically, but I'll be honest with you, the Patriots, when they traded up in the second round, they got the kid out of Baylor. When everything's said and done, Sky Moore is going to be a better pick than I think it's Tristan Thompson, the kid out of Baylor. The reason why they drafted Thompson is he had the fastest 40 time, and that was the one thing the Patriots really tried to do is add some speed. When everything's said and done, Sky Moore would have been a better pick. So I was very happy with Sky Moore in the second round. I love that pick, and I think next year he's going to be a bigger impact. I hated the fact they were going to put him on special teams. He didn't play special teams in college. That was a terrible move, but they fixed it. But Sky Moore is going to be a stud. But yeah, I want Olave. But when they traded up to 21, I was convinced it was going to be Jermaine Johnson. I was 1,000% convinced it was going to be Jermaine Johnson. And then the Jets took him, I think, at 22 or 23. And I was like, fuck. And he's going to have a great year next year. But McDuffie, every person, Chiefs fan, not Chiefs fan, is convinced McDuffie's going to be a Pro Bowl corner. I seriously, I'm not lying. Yeah. Burrow, if you had to say, give me like the most eligible NFL guy, it's easily Burrow. Trevor Lawrence married, or like, I think it was like during the playoffs or something, got engaged. I don't know the whole story, but yeah. And then Mahomes, he's been with his high school sweetheart. I don't know if Josh Allen's married. I know he's with somebody. Burrow's the only dude like out of those, 4 AFC quarterbacks that like I don't think's linked with anybody. And like your Burrow, you can pick anybody. I mean, you could pick anyone. I mean, yeah, you're not lying, man. Kind of. I'll be honest, arm talent's very similar. Mahomes has a little more escapability, but yeah, I could we are interviewing the Bengals quarterback coach. That would be an excellent hire. Amazement. Oh yeah, yes I am. Yes. Yeah, you should go and do the draft, get a bunch of other guys from other teams to come and join you. Well, okay, so here's the plan. I want to get some guys to do a mock draft early, and then I'm going to have some mock draft videos. I'm going to have it buttload. I'm telling you right now, in the past, I've done one for every single pick. I think I'm going to switch it up this year and do 1 through 4. And then when free agent hits, I've revisited 1 through 4. But if you stick around between now and draft time, I'm going to have at least 20 draft videos, at least 20, maybe more. I may not do a live stream of the draft itself, but we're going to do a buttload of mock draft stuff, a lot of mock draft stuff here. And I'm going to try to get some different people on. But yeah, we're going to do a lot of draft stuff here. I'm going to let you know something. I'm a sports betting expert. I'm an NFL expert. I'm a draft junkie. I'm not a draft expert, but I love the NFL draft, and we do a lot of it. We're going to do a lot of it here. So you know your draft stuff. Chiefs are going to be a fun team in the draft. Antonio Johnson today, right now, would be my pick, but I think he's going to just rocket up draft boards. By the way, I should put something down, but I am live streaming the AFC Championship. I'm really looking forward to it. I didn't even talk about this. I didn't even get a chance to talk about this. I did mention this. So what the Falcons did, and this is just genius. They stole a guy from the Saints. And I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know too much about Ryan Nielsen. All I know is that in NFL circles, he's a phenomenal linebackers coach, and there's a lot of youth on that Falcons side of the ball. This was a great hire. This was a great hire. Here, the other ones just real fast. Bill O'Brien going to New England. I think that's going to work. I think it's going to be a good hire. Michael LaFleur, he was fired from the Jets. He's going to the Rams. I like that pick mainly because Sean McVay is going to run that offense. He's just there to help, and these guys have history together, so it's going to be it's going to work out. I think we talked about every one of them, but yeah. Yeah, those are all right now. All the only signing that if I had to pick one, I really did. I like all of these, to be honest with you. The only thing that really, the one that surprised me is I was really floored at Dan Quinn staying. I was really floored about that. I talked about wanting Wilson and Lloyd after a trade back a lot. I did understand what Luke was talking about and how he got there, but I wouldn't hate it. But I loved Devin Lloyd. That was a guy I had a major man crush on, and he has a very bright future in Jacksonville. He has a very bright future in Jacksonville. I'm going to be honest with you, Funk. I don't remember you being that high on Wilson, and I'm not saying you're not, but I don't remember that. I don't remember you being that high on him. But I remember I hated that trade for Jameson Williams. We're going to have to see if that pans out. Funky can't be. No, I'm not. He just better be. Yeah, exactly. Trust me, Dan Daly. I'll be honest with you. I would be floored if I could find any Lions. By the way, Logan Hall was my pick for Kansas City. Now, for those of you who don't know, Kansas City had picks 28 and 29 or 29 and 30. So they're together. All right. So they were together. Draft day, they traded up with the New England Patriots, who picked 21. And at 20, I'm going to say it's 28, 29, it may have been 29, 30. I apologize. I should know. Logan Hall was the guy I wanted in Kansas City. And the reason why I wanted him in Kansas City is because he can play defensive end and he can play defensive tackle. And I thought year one, he would do like what George Kalifdis would do and, just play defensive end. Year two, I thought he'd move inside defensive tackle because he's if you don't know who this guy is, he played everything at Houston. He was what's called a 5 technique, but he can play defensive end. He can play defensive tackle. He's 6'5". He's about 265, 270, but he has the frame to be 290, 300 without an issue. But that was the guy I wanted in Kansas City. He's going to be a really good player because what's going to happen is they're going to move him inside. I think he's going to be a 5 technique. They're going to move him inside, and I think he's going to be a monster. He may not be a double-digit sack guy, but he's a guy I think that they're going to move him inside, and I think he's going to be a monster. I think he's going to be a great pick. I like White, both our tight ends, even our punter. Yeah, you had a decent draft. It's underneath some stuff, so I'd have to dig for it. But I had a legal pad with all my notes, and I kept track of like all the trades. I have a really good system for. I have a really good system for the draft. I have a legal notepad. I literally have a dozen different pages of notes, and I have a separate page I do just for the trades, and then I put the draft crate in. Just trust me, I have a really good system. Elam he's not, but the Bills wanted McDuffie. Elam's going to have a good career in the NFL, in my opinion, barring injury, but McDuffie's going to be better, and he was the guy the Bills really wanted. I was told the Chiefs really were going to trade up the 13th pick for Jameson Williams. They heard the Lions jumped to the 12th pick, called it off. Yes, I've heard that too. And I would have liked that for Kansas City because they had to trade capital to do so. The Chiefs had 2 first-round picks. They had a lot of draft capital. So the Chiefs had to draft capital to do this. And I didn't like it for the Lions because the Lions had a lot of holes in the offseason. And I thought that they really needed their draft worked out really well for them, but I didn't like it at the time. And I stand by it because they overdrafted a lot of guys. I thought they needed a lot more holes filled. And it's going to be very interesting to see what the Lions do. I've heard the same thing. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if it's true. Nobody will really know, but it makes sense. And I don't remember off the top of my head who was because I heard that the Chiefs were actually interested in trying to trade up for Trent McDuffie. There was talk about the Chiefs trading up, and I'm drawing a blank who was 12, 13. I want to tell you it was Minnesota, and that would make a lot of sense for the Vikings. But when Detroit jumped, I'm trying to remember here. I want to make sure I get my information correct. I don't remember if they traded inside the division, which is really weird. I think they traded with Minnesota, but it may have been Green Bay. And I can't remember. It was Minnesota. No, well, okay. So they traded with Minnesota. Team to pick the 13th. I'm drawing a blank on who it was right now. No. Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I remember right. The team that was picking 13th was actually Houston, and Houston ended up trading out of 13, if I remember correctly. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That the Chiefs and the Texans making a trade makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and Sky Moore was fantastic, but the fact that The fact that Sky Moore was returning punts, I think, was a disaster. But Cardavius Toney back there makes a lot of sense, and I'm hoping that Toney and Juju Smith-Schuster and Sky Moore and MVS stay in Kansas City. But it looks like some of those guys may move on. It's going to be interesting. I wanted us to get the defensive line. God, we were just talking about him. Adams. When we were on the clock, we traded back and chose Hall, Peckett. Oh, Wyatt. Yeah, Wyatt was chosen 28th, and he's going to have a good future. But if in that 3-4 defense, Hall's definitely the better player. Yeah, I like Hall a lot, and I think he's going to end up being a 5 technique for you guys. And what's going to happen is you may see him play defensive end and then play inside. But I think ultimately, I think he's going to be an interior player, and I think you guys are really going to like him. Burrow wins Saturday. Whoever named this. You know what's funny? Chiefs fans are saying this. I don't hear this at all from Bengals fans. So him and Bosa have the most third strike. You know what? I don't do TikTok, and maybe I should. I don't do TikTok, but I'm thinking about it. Wyatt is an asshat after Quay Walker shoved their trainer. Wyatt did the fat, tough guy thing and chest bumped the trainer in the back. Ooh. Okay, so I forgot about this, but so Quay Walker, I don't want to go into too much detail. There's a YouTuber who I love, and I don't follow him as much as I used to. He did a video about Quay Walker, and he kind of like, this is kind of beta behavior, and then he was crying afterwards, and yeah. I didn't know that about Wyatt, but I knew about the Quay Walker thing, and if that's the case, then both those guys need to grow the fuck up. Live draft streams are fun because I love seeing guys' reaction live, especially trades or surprise picks. I was not planning on doing. So here's the deal: the draft's in Kansas City. So in this group that I'm texting, which includes my buddy Mike Buffa, who was on the show, they wanted me to do something at a bar, and I'm like, there's no chance I'm doing anything at a bar. There's just people really don't. They're not as supportive when you're trying to do something. If I was like a big name or I was on the national news, like it would be, but basically what it'd be a bunch of drunk guys just acting like assholes. It wouldn't be a good environment. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that. But I'm going to do a lot of draft videos. I'm going to do a live stream afterwards. But the idea of doing something live on a live stream, it's kind of growing on me. I'm not going to do anything in a public place, but I might do it. But I have a whole system in play for doing the draft. I've been doing for a couple of years. It's really crazy. I got like 2 different notebooks. I have a page just for draft. I have a whole system. It's just going to be hard to do that live. And one thing about doing a live stream and doing this show, like right now, my throat's like kind of messing with me. The draft's like 5.5, 6 hours long. I don't know if I can talk for 6 hours straight. So that's another thing. Like it's long, it's extensive. It's one of those things. If I had a guess that like, hey, I need like a 15-minute break to eat a Snickers bar. That's something Mel Kiper does. Mel Kiper says he doesn't do anything. He has a Snickers bar in his pocket, and that's all he does for like draft day. He has like 1 Snickers bar and that's it. But like he gets like, he said like he eats like a Snickers bar, gets like, Mel Kiper's inhuman. Like what he does is phenomenal. I'm a huge Mel Kiper fan. I might. We'll see. The idea is growing on me. A lot of teams have a few trades put together for the top of the draft before the draft starts. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like it. Started chewing on my lip. It's interesting that you hate it. Our fan, I did not know that. I'll be honest with you. I don't see any. I'd be shocked if there's any Detroit Lions fans or females in the Kansas City area. I didn't know he had a ton of character issues because I thought late in the first round was where I had him going. So I was not aware of that. I think that's why we stay away at stuff. To tell you the truth, I just don't think he fits your defense. He's more of a 4-3 guy. I thought Logan Hall was the guy I wanted here in Kansas City, and I thought he was a better fit, just physically. They overdrafted. They got production of everybody except Lucas. Jim omitted. When I say overdrafted, Pascal was not going anywhere in the first 2 rounds. Picked him at 46. Kirby Joseph, who, by the way, is a great pick. He had a 5th round grade on him. Chose him in the 3rd. Trying to remember your 2nd round pick was John a blank. Oh yeah, it's Pascal. Yeah, Pascal. He would have been available at 66, not 46. Kirby Joseph, which was a great pick, by the way, and one I got wrong. He had a 5th round grade on him by the NFL Network. You can go look that up right now. Go to the NFL Network, 5th round grade. So yeah, they overdrafted, but all those players hit. So, man, if Chiefs get to Super Bowl if they're in middle of the field and people thought they would suffer on offense, that's how that's going to hurt for AFC. Then wow, that's got to hurt for AFC teams and people thought Kansas City would do. I didn't think they would. And Tyreek Hill had a fantastic year in Miami. If you're a Chiefs fan and you hate Tyreek Hill or you're hating on Tyreek Hill, just don't. Like he did an A+ job. He took a lot of money, life-changing money. He's from the Miami area. The domestic abuse allegations here in Kansas City it would leave bad taste in my mouth. For those of you that don't know, and this is the reason why Miracle Hardman was drafted and the Chiefs took Juan Thornhill instead of DK Metcalf, is that there was false allegations. There was a news reporter. She was just trying to make a name for herself. I can't really say I blame her. She got death threats, by the way, for it. But she reported that Tyreek Hill was – and then it kind of blew up into a story. Then you find out later it was Tyreek Hill who actually made the call. And he didn't get any trouble whatsoever. So kind of era that we live in. But I have no hate for Tyreek Hill. But, the whole being in Kansas City. And when he was first drafted, if you don't know Tyreek Hill's story, he was at Oklahoma State. He was a running back. Had an 85-yard punt return for a touchdown in Bedlam. It was national broadcast game. Kicked or punched his pregnant girlfriend, was kicked off the team. And if you're familiar with Mike Gundy, watch the I'm a man, I'm 40. Nobody batted an eye when he was gone. They were basically just like, nobody stuck up for this kid at all. And part of that is, domestic violence. So switches to wide receiver, drafted by John Dorsey in the 5th round. And John Dorsey got a assload of backlash that he wasn't expecting. I remember John Dorsey, like on an interview, he's like, I got a daughter and a wife, and I like women, and it was an embarrassing interview. It was just absolutely terrible. But he wasn't expecting the backlash from drafting Tyreek Hill. And immediately Tyreek Hill just started making plays and everything was really good. And his career was looking great in Kansas City. Then this came out. Then the Chiefs backpedaled on a long-term deal. He kept his nose clean, played lights out. Time for a big-time deal, which the Chiefs are willing. It's just Miami was willing to do more. And for those of you who are saying, Big Chief Sean, I mentioned him earlier. He said, well, it's only $5 million. I tell you, only $5 million is a lot of money. I mean, you give me $5 million, there's a YouTube channel I follow that says you can retire off $3 million. You just got to do it right. So $5 million, yeah. RGR Football is a great show. So Keys, members of Back Talk Brothers, they have an association with RGR. They used to come on a regular basis here. He hasn't been the last couple of weeks. Of course, they sent me invites to go on their show. I haven't been able to. So, but if you look at my description channels, I follow Back Talk Brothers. They're associated with RGR. So, but anyway, I love RGR Football. I don't join on his show that much, but big fan. And the Back Talk Brothers, who we have kind of a semi-association. I wouldn't call us friends, but we message each other on social media almost daily. So, okay. I was watching RGR football show a few days ago, and he got inside info. If the Chiefs can't sign Juju back, they were going to try for a wide receiver in the first round. It makes sense. It by the way, 100% beta male. Yeah. You probably saw the video, and yeah, I kind of don't want to. I don't want to go into base. I'm not. I don't want to. Okay. I wish we had a chance to get Mockin back from Georgia. He was an offensive coordinator back in the Dirk Cutter days. What he's doing at Georgia. Yeah, he is doing a fantastic job at Georgia. He's creative in his neck. Yeah, he's doing an A+ job. Dirk Cutter, by the way, if you're not aware, Dirk Cutter is the guy who gave Andy Reid his first coaching job. And I was kind of surprised that Dirk Cutter hasn't come back to the NFL in some way or not. I actually have no idea what he's doing, but I actually was thinking – if Eric Bieniemy comes on, I thought that he would be a guy that would come back to the Chiefs organization, work with Andy Reid, but that hasn't happened. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, boy. We interviewed Gundy before we hired Aaron's. I remember. Yeah, I remember that too. So, yeah, and Aaron's I thought was a great hire. The whole Brady Aaron's thing, not getting along, I don't really buy that, but I mean, there's a lot of truth to that. Brady's like, I haven't been yelled at in 25 years, and I got a guy yelling at me every day. I'm having a hard time dealing with it. So, I don't know. I don't buy that. That's why Aaron's had to be transferred to the front office, but I've heard that. So, man, I had this like sudden pain in my chest. Jeez, kind of bothered me. All right, in this era, it's best to get the women. All right. So in this era, it's best to get the woman that likes you, not the one that you want to bring drama. Man, God, there's so many things that we could talk about regarding this. So, what you want to do in this era and this time is to be the best possible man you can be. And by doing that, you're better than 90% of the men out there. Most men out there do a lot of simping. They do a lot of beta activity. If you just act like a man should act, like men were in the 70s and 80s, you're up 90%. And then what you do is that the women that want to be with you, the women that chase you, those are the ones that you want to keep around. If you have to chase a girl, you already lost. So you don't want to chase a girl. You don't want to pedestalize a girl, because when you put a girl on a pedestal, she looks down on you. So you want the women that are chasing you. You want the ones that you're chasing you. The women that you want, you chase them, you lose them. Never chase a woman. You be the best possible man you can be, and you let women chase you. And that's the way it's been since the beginning of time. All right, that's how it's been since the beginning of time. Over the last 10, 20, 30 years, because women buy 85% of the goods and services. So TV has catered towards women. Shows like Sex and the City has destroyed women's minds by thinking, hey, I can be a slut in my 20s and 30s, and then in my 40s, I'm going to get a multimillionaire who's going to fall in love with me, when the truth is that multimillionaire is going to be chasing after hot 20-somethings. Because the older a woman gets, the more argumentative she's going to get, the more standards she's going to have. There's so many more things that a woman's not going to. I have no idea why all this is coming up now. So the way it is that women, the older they get, the more standards they have, and the more disagreeable they're going to be, the more angry they're going to be. So why want them? Okay, I kind of went on a rant there. Didn't mean to. I apologize. But here's the deal, man. My last girlfriend was 22 and awesome. And I dumped her because I know I can do better. That's how I feel. This was several years ago, but I mean, I'm in my 40s, so I can date girls half my age, and it's legal. But that's what I do. If you got to chase a girl, she's not worth it. I ask a girl out, and she doesn't act like she's going to jump off a building to go out with me. There's 4 billion women out there. I have a YouTube channel, some of the best fans in the world on there. So, but I have a Smith machine back there. I sugar-free energy drink, a gym right here, a YouTube channel, some of the best fans in the world. So I'm a catch. Brady likes to be coached hard, and he doesn't like play calling plays like a Manning type. In this era, you want a woman who's going to respect you and loves you more than you want her. Bingo. Plus, you never lose women chasing money, but you lose money chasing women. Some great nuggets there. This is, to be honest, I thought about doing more content like that, but it's not something I'm an expert on. I am an expert on football. So guys, I'm going to wrap up. Unless anybody's got any final questions. Guys, please give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I hate the NFL. I don't recognize you before. So, man, I really hope I hear more from you. I'm a Chiefs season ticket holder, but I make this channel for all 32 fan bases. So I hope to hear more from you. The Antonio Johnson, me and you see 100% eye to eye on there. Amazement. Thanks for the love, brother. I am going to do live play-by-play for the Chiefs Bengals AFC championship game. So I encourage you, watch the game, mute the sound, turn on me to have me do play-by-play for you, and drop some comments down when I do the live stream for the game. After the NFL season's over, we're going to switch directly into draft mode, which I'm starting tomorrow. I'm going to watch the NFL Players Association game. There's going to be a lot of good prospects, probably not a lot of first rounders in that game, but a lot of good prospects, because after the Super Bowl's over to draft day, it's going to be a lot of work, a lot of videos, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I know a lot of you guys like draft, and I do too. So that being said, guys, I'm tuning out. Have a great weekend. Tune in Sunday to watch me do play-by-play, and I'll see you all back